Almighty God, who in thy infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and councils for the welfare of society and the just government of man. We beseech thee to behold thy abundant favor as thy servants whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in this parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge, all which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Honorable Speaker, good morning. I beg to move that under item 8, which is public business, insert sub-item B, authorization for a loan from the National Bank of Dominica Limited for the purpose of funding expenditure in respect of the implementation of the electoral reform and modernization, and that sub-item shall form part of the order paper. I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that sub-item B shall now form part of the order paper. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
And congratulatory remarks.
Morning to these honorary members in this house. I stand here to give some obituary and congratulatory report in one. I'm speaking about Mr. Addison James, our very own gold medalist. He won the gold medal, and 2 years ago, he won a bronze, but unfortunately, one of his hands died 2 years ago. And 2 years after, which was a few weeks ago, a next aunt, unfortunately, was killed. And I just want to tell Addison James, hold strong and keep the head up. This government, Margot constituency, will help him go through this bittersweet moment. And thanks to the caretaker of Margot and the Honorable Prime Minister, they'll be assisting in his hand burial. So thank you. And Addison, hold strong and bring home some more gold medals for your country. Thank you.
Confirmation of minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, 19 March 2025 be confirmed as circulated.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, 19th March 2025 be confirmed as circulated. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Announcements by Speaker.
I must inform the Honorable House that I receive 4 correspondence from the following honorable members who are seeking permission to be absent from this meeting. It's Honorable Kasane Laville, Honorable Octavia Alfred, Honorable Greta Roberts, and Honorable Miriam Blanchard. Both Honorable Laville and Honorable Alfred are out on state duties, and Honorable Roberts and Honorable Blanchard are both ill.
Just for posterity, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me. I'm going back to the minutes, sorry. I'm not asking for us to amend it now, but for future. I think the rules allow, you can only be considered absent if the speaker approves. Right, so I think that we need to make a distinction, because I would not want for anyone to think that I was a truant. That I did get
Yes,
permission,
yes.
so I think in the future we need to say,
Yes, Honorable Prime Minister. Clerk, Mr. James, noted. Nice. Yeah, and we can make the correction also in this meeting minutes. The mic, we need to bring down the volume of the mic. So let's proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to give notice that at a later stage of the proceedings, I'll be moving the motions authorization for credit facility from the International Development Association, as the IDA, for a programmatic development policy credit to strengthen fiscal and climate resilience, and authorization for a loan from the National Bank of Dominica Limited for the purpose of funding expenditure in respect of the implementation of the electoral reform and modernization. I'll be taking all three stages of the bill, shortly entitled Income Tax Country by Country Reporting Act 2025, standing in my name on the order paper.
Statement by ministers. Introduction of bills.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill shortly entitled Income Tax Country by Country Reporting Act 2025 be read a first time.
Yes. Income Tax Country by Country Reporting Act 2025.
The bill has been read the first time.
Public business, government business, motion.
Resolution. Whereas, by virtue of Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 2017 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the House of Assembly may by resolution duly passed authorize the minister responsible for finance to borrow money from approved sources or guarantee loans to statutory boards or public corporations for the purpose of financing general development purposes in any foreign currency or currency. And whereas over the last 10 years, Dominica has been negatively impacted by repeated macroeconomic shocks caused by climate events in 2015, 2017, and 2022, the COVID-19 pandemic from 2020 to 2022, and the inflationary impact of the Russia-Ukraine war 2022-2024. And whereas on each occasion, government's revenue declined sharply, while expenditures surged as government implemented response measures, including policies to cushion the impact of residents. And whereas the non-tax revenues, mainly from the Citizenship by Investment Program, is being utilized to fund a number of large public sector investment projects, including the international airport and the marina. And whereas, notwithstanding the improvement in government's fiscal position from fiscal year 2023 to 2024 to present, additional financing is required to build fiscal resilience and support the implementation of fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, including developing resilient communities under the first phase of the relocation of Campbell, Good Hope, Saint-Sauvé, and Petite-Soufrière to safer locations. And whereas the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica and the International Development Association have agreed into an agreement whereby the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica will contract a credit facility in the sum of special drawing rights, $18,500,000, equivalent to Eastern Caribbean $69,930,000, to strengthen fiscal and climate resilience. Be it resolved that in accordance with Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of the 2017 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, this Honorable House authorizes the Minister of Finance to borrow by means of credit a sum not exceeding special drawing rights $18,500,000, equivalent to Eastern Caribbean $69,930,000, on the following terms: interest 0.75% per annum, commitment charge 0.5% per annum, grace period 10 years, repayment 60 semi-annual installments commencing March 15, 2035.
The motion is before the House for debate.
Make a statement. Statement.
Yeah, make a statement first. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, proceed, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this government has had the challenging task, particularly over the last 10 years, of balancing between responding to repeated macroeconomic shocks caused by the climate events in 2015, 2017, and 2022, and the COVID-19 pandemic 2020-2022. Building resilience to these shocks, and at the same time, forging ahead with an ambitious transformational agenda to bring sustainable development to our people and our country. Still, at the same time, Mr. Speaker, the demand for government services and support has increased, while government, the largest consumer in the country, has not been spared by imported inflation over the past 5 years. Although actual tax revenues increased from $318.1 million in 2015 to $394.3 million in 2024, the actual recurrent expenditure, excluding CBI-related expenses, increased from $388.7 million to $551.5 million over the same period. Government has been constantly exploring ways to reduce recurrent expenditure, including reducing allocations for the purchase of goods and services, reducing travel budgets, consolidating the purchase of some supplies, keeping the wage bill within the set limits, ongoing efforts to digitalize operation to increase efficiencies. However, based on our analysis, a significant amount of these increased expenditures are related to the expansion in the services provided by the government. For example, Mr. Speaker, we now have 2 new hospitals, 14 new health centers. We've expanded services to the public. We have increased our subsidies in education, particularly in respect of early childhood education and free tuition at the State College. We have increased expenditure on national security, including a larger police force, police vehicles, engagement of additional magistrates and resident judges. More sporting facilities have been constructed and have to be maintained, while at the same time, we have increased the number of sports officers. Mr. Speaker, these are just a few examples of the expanded services that your government is now providing. Despite this, there has been no significant increases in taxes. To date, we have conscientiously avoided increasing the tax burden on the people of Dominica, contrary to the views of some. Mr. Speaker, non-tax revenues, mainly from the CBI, have increased sharply from 6.9% of GDP in 2015 to 31% in 2024. These revenues are being used for the development of the international airport, the Cabritz Marina, several other infrastructural projects, as well as funding the National Employment Program, the over 65 non-contributory pension, a few other social programs, and on some occasions, supporting debt servicing. Government could have simply used the CBI revenues to close the financing gap in the recurrent estimates. However, this would mean not progressing the airport, the marina, the public sector investment programs, which would impede the ongoing transformation of our country and economy. In any event, it is not advisable or prudent to depend on temporary revenue streams like the CBI to fund recurrent expenditure, a practice which government does not subscribe except in special circumstances. Mr. Speaker, while some of the loan funds will be used to support the recurrent budget, for example, subventions to Discover Dominica Authority for marketing our Dominica, road maintenance and restoration, and procurement of equipment, aspects of the public sector program will also be financed from this loan, including land settlement in relation to some of the ongoing projects and the relocation of residents of Campbell, Pilit-sur-Freer, Saint-Sauveur, and Good Hope to safer locations. So today, Mr. Speaker, I encourage every member of the House to support the resolution which is before the House. That is, the IDA loan in the amount of special drawing rights, 18.5 million, or 69.6 million, to build fiscal resilience and support the implementation of fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. This loan has been evaluated in the context of government's medium-term debt strategy and is consistent with the objectives of this strategy. I now commend the resolution to the House. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So now the motion is before the House for debate. Yes, Senator, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, permission to refer to my notes, please.
Permission granted.
I rise today to give my contribution to this resolution before this House. Mr. Speaker, before I continue, I would like to use a simpler word for the people of Dominica today. So I won't be using a credit facility or to borrow by means of credit. I'll be using a simple word, loan. Because no matter how we look at it, it's a loan. Let me begin by stating that I at any time do not oppose to development or to carefully consider the borrowing money when it is done in the best interest of the people. However, this proposed loan raises serious concerns, which I am hoping by the end of this sitting will be addressed. 1. How will the government ensure that the $69,930,000 be used efficiently and effectively? Even when loans are approved, there is a poor track record of timely project execution. As stated in the resolution of this loan, it will facilitate the first phase of the relocation of Campbell, Good Hope, Pilit-sur-Freer, and Saint-Sauveur communities to safer locations. How are we going to ensure that when this loan is granted, that phase 1 is actually completed? These are projects that have been in the airways since the passage of Tropical Storm Erika 2015. Budget after budget, loan after loan, we have seen delays, cost overruns, and our famous underutilization of funds. Mr. Speaker, the people need to know. Number 2, transparency. In my opinion, sufficient details have not been provided regarding the usage of this loan. Vaguely referencing first phase of the relocation of Campbell, Good Hope, Sansove, and Pilit Sufia, does not justify borrowing at this time. Where is the project breakdown? Where is the estimated time frame? What does this phase entail? The first phase may be, the first phase may be a few town hall meetings. Does this phase of a few town hall meetings need a loan of almost $70 million? Mr. Speaker, I am only drawing reference because the people need to know. Fiscal burden and rising debt, number 3. Our public debt is already at worrisome levels. With every new loan, we are saddling future generations with obligations they did not ask for. Yes, we are getting the good concessions, we are getting long grace period of these loans. But when free for loans meet at the same time, what provisions are in place to repay? Currently, Dominica's debt to GDP ratio, according to IMF, is at 97.8%. Though we are speaking on this resolution, there's also another resolution before this House today requesting a loan of $6 million Eastern Caribbean dollars. Taking on approximately $75 million more in debt without clear strategy is fiscally irresponsible. We cannot continue borrowing as though we are immune to economic shocks, Mr. Speaker, because we are not. What about alternatives to borrowing? We have lived to understand by this government that it is CBI, that our CBI program is thriving, but every year we resort to loans. Continuously opting for loans shows a lack of creative economic planning. Shouldn't the thriving CBI program prevent us from all these loans? Shouldn't our debt to GDP ratio be closer to the IMF recommendation of 60%? Mr. Speaker, I am only asking because the people need to know. Our parliament is not a rubber stamp, Mr. Speaker. It is our duty to question and to act in the best interest of the people. Continuously treating this parliament as a rubber stamp is economic recklessness. Let us not mortgage the country's future for short-term political gains. When a loan is taken, that means money is borrowed, which is expected to be paid back with an interest. When the government takes a loan, the people are the ones who repay this loan. How? Income tax, imported duties, VAT, just to name a few. Let us think of our children's future, our children's children's future, our children's 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 future, Mr. Speaker, when we take all this loan. As I wind down on this presentation, I'd like to send a clear message to the people of the community of Kulibistri. Wake up, my people. Once again, you were placed on the back burner, but do not give up hope. The relocation is not yours, but have no fear. The Lord is with you always.
Can I get a tabletop?
Yes, Honorable Popham Skerrit.
Tabletop. Have it?
Well, you can get it for her. You see the podium business, we maybe need to change the setup so we can have some glass setup so people can talk easy. But let's proceed. Yeah, we'll have to modernize. Yeah. Let's proceed.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to refer to my notes this morning.
Yeah, proceed. Permission granted.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, fellow Dominicans, I rise today not just to support the motion before the House, but with a deep sense of duty, Mr. Speaker, a duty to finish what we started, and to bring hope and shelter to those who are waiting far too long. Let me begin by saying, Mr. Speaker, that You know, Dominica is a beautiful country. It is a majestic gift. It is a beautiful island, but maintaining this is no cheap task. Mr. Speaker, when you look at our country, we have deep valleys, we have high mountains, we have shifting soils, we have rising rivers. And when you hear rain coming nowadays, it's no longer a little house party. It's people in fear because of what rain does to us nowadays. And so no village and no constituency is immune to climate change. Mr. Speaker, allow me to jog your memory back to 2015 when Tropical Storm Erica tore off repeated savanna, displacing 283 families, leaving heartbreak in its wake. We acted swiftly, Mr. Speaker, and though the cost was high, we found the means because of our commitment to our people. Again, when Hurricane Maria struck in 2017, it inflicted catastrophic damage on Dominica. Total damages and losses, wiping out about 226% of our nation's GDP, amounting to about 1.3 million. Mr. Speaker, we dug deep. We found the resources because rebuilding our country wasn't optional, it was urgent. Mr. Speaker, this Labour Party believes that a safe home is not a luxury, it is a need. And one thing you can say about this government is that the results speak for itself. So I don't know what the member is speaking about, because if you look across Dominica, the proof is in the pudding. You will see resilient homes in the thousands across Dominica. Open your eyes and watch. In Kulibistri, Mr. Speaker, is one of the villages that we have touched on. We're not complete, we're not finished with them, Mr. Speaker, but we have not forgotten them. Mr. Speaker, after Erica, listen because you don't know the stats. After Erica, 1.5 million was spent specifically for the residents of the Kulibistri area. Home renovations, cleanups. We built 3 resilient homes. In Maria, after Maria, Mr. Speaker, we spent 1.7 million in Kulibistri again for cleanup, for renovations. Check the village council, they will give you a record of all the checks that were sent to the residents of Kulibistri for their home renovations. We are not done yet. We are not done rebuilding. 226% of our GDP was wiped out. How many years are you going to think that's going to take us to rebuild, Senator? Mr. Speaker, in the Kulibistri area, we only have a few more homes to resettle. Just a few of them who are living in vulnerable areas. And we understand that. Kulibistri is not the only area where we have people living in vulnerable areas. But we have to start somewhere. We start village by village. In fact, as we speak, we have about 10 housing sites under construction, 240-something homes being built for the people, Mr. Speaker, who have been waiting since Hurricane Maria. So don't stand here and lie to the people and say that we have not touched Kulibistri because you believe it is a worker seat. Every Dominican deserves a right to live in a safe home. And so we are continuing, and Mr. Speaker, that is why we are taking this loan for us to continue the job that we have started. Mr. Speaker, the fact is, climate change is draining millions from our economy. Money that we simply do not have and we didn't cater for. That is why this government is acting responsibly by securing this loan. And still, through all this added expense, Mr. Speaker, we had to shift budgets around. You've heard the Prime Minister say that we were saving to build the airport. We had to use this money for COVID, for more important things. The health of the people is our priority as well as housing. So, Mr. Speaker, this government, under the sterling leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, has built close to 2,000 resilient homes since Hurricane Maria. And we will continue to build in every village and every area where there are vulnerable people still waiting, Mr. Speaker. And we did that not because it was easy, but because it was the right thing to do. And this is what a caring government does. To date, we spent over 500 million in recovery housing because we refuse to let disaster define us. And this is what you call sound leadership, Mr. Speaker. We have made major investments, 353 homes in Bellevue-Chopin for the Petite-Savane evacuees, amounted to 1.29 million. 322 apartments in the East Coast communities, about 94 million. There's 57 Petrocasas, about 10 million again. 705 homes completed with direct financial intervention into the homes and the hands of these people, about 143 million. For 343 replacement homes under the Housing Recovery Project, Mr. Speaker, to the World Bank, 89 million. And the work continues. Hundreds of families, as we know, still remain in vulnerable conditions. And that is why the funds that we are securing today is so critical. Some of it will be used for the resettlement of residents, and some will help to complete some homes that we have already started in Petite-Soufrière, Saint-Sauveur, part of Good Hope, Morport, Tranto, Dipax, Casabrousse, and of course, the residents of Campbell. Let's talk about Campbell a bit, Mr. Speaker. We understand the people of Campbell have waited a little bit too long. The land has been assessed and reassessed. It is no longer safe. That is not opinion. This is the science. It is a fact. And so we are relocating these families to the beautiful village of Warner, Mr. Speaker. And let me tell you something about Warner. Warner is one of the villages that has become one of the most highly sought after areas when it comes to home construction in Dominica. Mr. Speaker, as I speak, I have maybe over 800 applications on my desk applying. People want to buy lots in the Warner area to build their homes for their families. But the land is limited, Mr. Speaker. The site at Warner for the relocation of the residents of Campbell, Mr. Speaker, I know you know that area. It offers breathtaking views of the Caribbean Sea. And so we are resettling people with dignity, respect, and class, Mr. Speaker. We are giving the people of Campbell the best of the best. And we will begin with those who lost their homes and cannot afford to rebuild. These are the people who have been most affected, the most vulnerable, and they will be first in line, not out of favoritism, but because justice demands it. To our brothers and sisters of Casabrousse and Petite-Soufrière, where landslides and shifting soils have become the new normal, we see you. We know what we have to do for you. You know for certain that this Labour government will never forget you. This is why we're here today, Mr. Speaker. Climate change is draining millions from us just to keep the basics intact. Roads, bridges, water systems. We have to be continuously spending money. Just the rain that happened over the weekend, we had so many blockages, landslides. Again, you have to find the money. You have to clear the roads. People have to go to work. People have to use the roads, Mr. Speaker. But amid these challenges, housing remains one of our top priority. Now, I know the opposition will raise alarms. The senator here talking about GDP ratio and all of this, Mr. Speaker, but I want to ask the member of Salisbury, have you ever met a mother with 3 children living under a tarpaulin? She's not going to ask you about our debt to GDP ratio. She's going to ask you, where can I find a safe place to sleep before the next storm arrives? Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you a little story. I'll never forget Miss Josephine, I think her name was from the Pishley area, I believe. A senior citizen who received one of our homes. And when she was handed the key, she held it to her chest, held the keys, and she said, I have nothing to leave for my children but these keys, but this is something, and it's a lot. This is why we do what we do. Mr. Speaker, 10 housing sites are under construction throughout Dominica, and just last week, I did a tour of Dominica because the CEO of MMC was visiting, Dr. Anthony Hayden. And I visited the sites, the housing site of Eggleston, Grand Bay, Point Michel, and Scottshead. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are determined to see these housing projects completed with the highest standards and in a timely fashion, Mr. Speaker, because people are waiting. And next week, I will be heading to, this week, I'll be heading to the north, in the area of Woodford Hill, Penville, and Vickers and Pebush, where we also have resilient homes being built there, Mr. Speaker. Then after, I will touch on Kinfield and Trafalgar. But Mr. Speaker, when I went to Grand Bay, Mr. Speaker, this Grand Bay area is majestic. Mr. Speaker, the Grand Bay housing site, it's like a new village we are building in a vibrant village of Grand Bay. Grand Bay and Dubic, the new Dubic, Mr. Speaker, is a sight to behold. Mr. Speaker, if you visit this area, there are 96 stand-alone, hurricane-proof, shatterproof windows, concrete roof, Mr. Speaker, energy-saving lights with their little backyard, their porch, beautiful. I can't wait to, I'm going to color code it because it have to be a sight to behold. When we do my aerial shots, let me tell you, more islands will come to Dominica and ask us about our housing. It's beauty and resilience combined together, Mr. Speaker. In addition to the homes in this area, we are also constructing a church, a community center, a fire station, a magistrate's court, and on the entrance, you will see beautiful little structures either side lining the road. 26 new commercial spaces, Mr. Speaker, in this area. So this is a whole little village, self-sustainable, Mr. Speaker. People who are already wanting to know who's getting what, and they want commercial space, they want house, they can't decide which one, but they cannot get both. So we'll give the entrepreneurs the commercial spaces because we want to see there's a lot of agro-processing in the south of Dominica, and we want to help them find a space to showcase their products. So these people will be given priority, especially those who work from their home. Mr. Speaker, little shops are going to erect there. So I'm very excited about this housing site in particular. And so I really want to express my thanks to MMC, the communities, the people, the contractors. When I went there, I saw the NEP workers who are keeping the place beautifully clean as the construction is happening, Mr. Speaker. They're taking out the garbage, they're painting rocks, they're beautifying the space like as if that they have already moved in, because some of them are actually beneficiaries, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank them for their patience and, let them know that we understand the urgency, and I want to assure them that this government is working every day to deliver on our promises to them, Mr. Speaker. And the CEO of MMC gave me his assurance that this housing site will be complete by December this year. In fact, he stated that on the timelines that we have right now, all of the 10 sites that I just listed will be complete by the end of this year, 2025. Mr. Speaker, we have also begun building the future housing, modern homes in Warner for our young professionals who have been waiting, Mr. Speaker. I'll speak a little bit about that on the radios coming up. But Mr. Speaker, we're not just constructing houses. We are building legacies. We're building generational wealth. And we're building stability. Mr. Speaker, I want to share something, and I think anybody who's been a minister for housing in the past know that your anxiety level is up when May comes along. The rains start coming, your phone is ringing, your office is busier than ever, Mr. Speaker, because the hurricane season is approaching, and the anxiety among the people is real. People are scared because sometimes, nowadays, even the forecasters, they seem confused. And so you just always have to be prepared because you don't know what can transpire, Mr. Speaker. But I want to give you a little joke because one day I logged onto Facebook and, being a minister of housing, I'm looking for the hurricanes. What type of hurricane season we're going to have? I see it's going to be highly active. And when I look, I see there's a hurricane Melissa coming. Mr. Speaker, I almost dropped my coffee because I'm like, wait, what? My name coming as a tropical storm or potential hurricane this year. I say, boy, I don't know what the universe is doing, if it's mocking me or sending me a message, because we know how a minister of housing feels when a storm is coming. Mr. Speaker, all jokes aside, this is why housing is urgent. Because behind every family that has a leaking roof is a child who's sleeping under there, who may be afraid of lightning, afraid of thunder, and just getting wet, Mr. Speaker. And that is what drives me every day. Now, before I close, Mr. Speaker, I want to share some exciting news for our existing homeowners across Dominica. Cabinet recently approved the hiring of a full-time state attorney, and she will be stationed in the Ministry of Housing. Mr. Speaker, she has one job to do. Her sole purpose is to process all the land titles for our government-built homes. This is huge, Mr. Speaker. This is a big deal, because for years, the issue of titles of government-built homes have been a hot topic in Dominica. But the reality is, after every devastation, our priority is clear. It's just to get people in homes as quickly as possible and put them under a safe roof, Mr. Speaker. So we're not going to let a piece of paper delay someone's chance of having a roof over their head. And because of that approach, we've been able to house thousands of people in a safe home. But now I'm proud to say that we have found a solution to move the title process forward faster and more efficiently. We're unlocking real value for our people, Mr. Speaker, and this is what progress looks like. We have made promises to the people, and we are delivering on our promises. We're not just giving homes, we're giving power to the people. We're giving independence to the people. We're giving them a future. And so let us move forward with this motion, not with hesitation, but with conviction, knowing that we are building not just for today, but for generations to come. Labour builds, Mr. Speaker. This Labour Party government builds while the others bicker. This Labour Party government delivers while the others have nothing to offer. And so let us continue to build and let us continue to lead. And so I support this motion without hesitation, and I urge all right-thinking members of this House to do the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Senator Parrish, you may proceed. You are recognized.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, it's good to see you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some brief remarks on the current legislation, or current resolution, that is before the House for debate and approval. let's take a cursory look at some of the key elements of this resolution. Government of Dominica getting a facility from the IDA, $69.93 million, let's say 70 million EC. Fiscal and climate resilience, relocation of vulnerable communities, 0.75 per annum. Mr. Speaker, by the way, please allow me to refer to my notes from time to time.
Permission granted.
Thank you very much, Mr.
But
Speaker.
it's like,
Mr. Speaker, you can't give me a speech now.
no, it's like the way we're saying it now, it's like it's an automatic,
Say that
you know,
again?
we have to ask for permission.
Yes, you're right, Mr.
But anyway, the House will determine what it wants to do with that matter. But
No, Mr. Speaker,
Let's proceed.
All due respect,
No, let's
I
proceed.
apologize for not asking before I start.
yeah, let's proceed.
Thank you very much for your consideration, Mr. Speaker. 0.5% commitment charge per annum, a grace period of 10 years, repayment 60 semi-annual installments starting in 2035. Now, Mr. Speaker, I was hoping that we, after the presentation by the Minister of Finance, that I would have to get rid of some of the questions that I initially thought that I would have to ask. But the Minister didn't help me at all, no? So, at the risk of even running over time, I still would like to ask a question, Mr. Speaker. By the way, how much time do I have?
According to the rules, members have 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. But I think the members will give me some extra time. You don't have. Mr. Speaker, point number one. How sustainable is our debt? Now, while the interest rate is very favorable, welcome back. While the interest rate is very favorable, this is still a long-term loan that is adding to our national debt. Question now becomes, have we fully assessed Dominica's current debt to GDP ratio? I heard some remarks made about it. And it gives me some confidence, Mr. Speaker. It gives me a lot of confidence because clearly the administration recognizes where we are as it relates to our debt to GDP ratio and so on and so forth. And with bringing another resolution to the House, adding to our debt portfolio, obviously we would have done those assessments. And therefore, it would not be unreasonable to ask for the publishing of our debt sustainability analysis. Mr. Speaker, for the benefit of the listening public, debt sustainability analysis is a formal evaluation conducted by the Ministry of Health, right, Minister? Often in collaboration with the IMF, World Bank, etc., intended to examine a number of things. One, how much public debt does a country have? How fast is the economy growing? How much revenue is the government collecting? Whether the country will be realistically able to meet future debt obligations without defaulting or without reducing on services, particularly essential services. Now, a debt sustainability analysis, Mr. Speaker, will answer questions like, can Dominica afford to borrow an additional $70 million? While the country may be able, will the country rather be able to start repaying sufficiently in 2035? How vulnerable is the country to future climatic shocks and changes in the global markets? And what is our debt to GDP ratio going to be looking like in 10, 20, 30 years? Mr. Speaker, with all the commotion going on the other side, it is just simple, to present the debt service analysis, debt sustainability analysis, and say we're cool, right? Mr. Speaker, what we are expecting a debt sustainability analysis to do is to show us whether borrowing more money now is fiscally responsible. And obviously our debt sustainability analysis will show that because we're bringing these resolutions to the House confidently, right? Or will it be leading us to a place where we're taking debt that we cannot sustain? Mr. Speaker, before we authorize new borrowing, I think it is fair for this honorable House to be assured that a full debt sustainability, you know what that is, huh? Okay, well, you shouldn't have a problem publishing it. We should be assured that the debt sustainability analysis has been completed, and we need evidence that Dominica will not be pushed into a cycle of borrowing to repay borrowing. Now, Mr. Speaker, between you and I, right? Let's level forward. Let's level forward. It must not be mistaken or misconstrued. And we must, it's not every time we have to put things in a one pot. Because the relocation of our citizens in the most vulnerable communities that are vulnerable to catastrophic impacts from climatic events, the relocation of those peoples, ensuring that our people continue to remain safe is not something that we can debate. It's not something that is debatable. Of course, that is something we should do. And of course, that should be at the top of our priority list every chance we get. Mr. Speaker, we have to constantly be making improvements in our environment to make sure that our people are safe. That's not what we're debating. That is obviously not up for debate. It cannot be. Mr. Speaker, as recently as yesterday, Minister made mention of it. Especially in a number of communities in Dominica, particularly in Calibishi, we saw all the videos going around. Many of the villagers there were impacted by torrential rainfall, even people commuting to the village. And that is a problem. That is a problem that we consistently have to face. So we have to keep making improvements to ensure that our people are safe. Because, Mr. Speaker, the reality of our situation is that we live here. This is our home. We're in the path of the hurricane, and we cannot move the country. So we are going to consistently be faced with climatic events that we did not contribute to and that we don't have control over.
You proceed.
Like me to proceed?
I have not interjected because I do not want to affect your flow. You understand?
Mr. Speaker,
But if you need cover, you can ask me.
Mr. Speaker, please. Okay. That's what I'm asking you for.
So members, allow him to speak. Allow him to speak. Yes.
So, Mr. Speaker, I want to make it clear, emphatically clear, that right? That that's not up for debate, and we support the protection of our people every time. But, Mr. Speaker, we don't live in a vacuum. We don't operate within a vacuum. So, hence, Mr. Speaker, as I've said before, we can do a good thing in a bad way. We can do a good thing, do it in a bad way. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about a little bit of transparency. Resolution lumps the justification under the broad terms like fiscal resilience and relocation. Yet, what I was expecting the Minister of Finance to do is to provide a budgetary breakdown, to give us some timelines, and to explain what specific activities are we expecting the $70 million to fund. That's not unfair questions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, something must be said here to demonstrate and give our people the confidence that the relocation will actually happen. Mr. Speaker, every major project that you undertake, there has to be some well thought out, well structured implementation plan that allows stakeholders and everyone involved to have a detailed view of how the project will be carried out. I expected to hear that from the Minister of Finance, and I didn't hear it. So that is why I'm taking the time to go through this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we do not have any indication of what an implementation plan would look like. What is the disbursement going to look like? What is our schedule? What is our timeline? We're talking about a first phase, but how many phases do we have? And how much is each of those phases going to cost? When will these relocations commence? We heard about the safer locations in Warner, and that's fabulous, because I had another question. But that is just for the citizens, the residents of one community. If you listen, you'll learn, you know. Even when I support him, he doesn't listen. Anyway. So Mr. Speaker, all of these questions need to be answered, because it will demonstrate the level of responsibility that we have and how serious we are taking this loan that none of us will be here to repay. Mr. Speaker, let's go deeper with it. Let's go deeper with it. The same communities that we are relocating, how are we preparing the skilled men and women in those communities? The skilled men and women in those communities. How are we preparing those skilled men and women, young entrepreneurs, individuals who have an eye for business? How are we preparing and empowering them to take part meaningfully and engage in this project that we are taking a loan for? How are we empowering them? The young men who have skills, and the senior guys too. How are we enforcing equity and equality for women and men and making a space for them to make sure that during this project, they can participate meaningfully and engage? What procurement rules are we intending to use to carry out these projects? Will there be a tender process? Are we empowering our young local contractors, our young local engineers to get ready to participate in monies that their children will have to pay back, Mr. Speaker? That is the kind of questions I expected during the Minister of Finance's presentation to talk about. What metric are we using to determine these safer locations? We heard about one, but are there any more? And are they free from any kind of vulnerabilities? Remember, we don't only have riverways, we have volcanoes too. Those things are still important for us to answer. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about our CBI. Because it was interesting to hear from the minister this morning that CBI has become a temporary revenue stream. But Mr. Speaker, it was not long ago that we were saying, if not CBI, what? If not CBI, what? Mr. Speaker, when did that change? And what have we changed it to? Because inquiring minds would like to know. Mr. Speaker, yes, obviously, the minister was correct when he said that we could have easily used the CBI funds to close the gap. And he's right, but I don't know why he ran away from it. So let's go back into it. Mr. Speaker, and I want your help here because I know you don't like when we say the sale of. So advise me, is exchange or proceeds from the CBI, right? We're not going to say, all right, good. All right, Mr. Speaker. Our legal rate for the exchange of citizenship is $200,000 US, correct? Good. Mr. Speaker, it is fair for us.
So member, you need to withdraw about the sale.
Mr. I just said sale, you know, Mr. Speaker.
What did you say?
Sale of what, you know?
What did you say?
I said the sale. I know you don't like us to say the sale.
Yeah,
I didn't say sale of what?
But again, if you proceed like that, I will stop you.
Mr. Speaker,
Because I don't think, no, I don't think we're taking this matter serious. If I rule on a matter already, why are you trying to be in a back and forth on it?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know how you're determining that, but I'm very sorry.
Well, you see, the problem is, we as people of African and Kalinago descent, we keep not getting the point. If you have your major revenue stream, you cannot as a collective in the parliament be talking about it as if it is illegal. If you
You're
bring,
referring to me, Mr. Speaker?
yeah. So I don't want you to go down that road. We have discussed it privately and in Parliament. This is basic to understand.
Okay, Mr.
And maybe one of these days out of Parliament, I will maybe deal with it on the radio program. Because I think we're not getting it, and I don't have an opportunity to debate the matter because I'm in the chair. But we're missing the point as a black people. This is your main revenue stream. So if you destroy it, talk negative about it, it's like you are destroying a banana industry. That's what you're doing. Whereas we can debate and disagree on process and procedure, but not on the program.
So, Mr. Speaker, what would you like me to withdraw?
We've let's just proceed, but be guided and let's not treat this thing lightly as if it's a joke. It's not a joke. I ruled on it on principle and based on just legal. Nobody's selling any passport anywhere in the world. I'm trying to guide every time. But as I said, proceed. I will deal with it in a separate forum on my own. Because members of this honorable house, all of you need to deal with this. Maybe it's a little too late anyway. Because the damage is done already. So let's proceed. I'll give you an extra 5 minutes, but let's proceed. But hear me out. I'm not dealing with this politically. I am a Dominican, vested everything in Dominica. If you damage the economy, it's affecting all of us. All. So this is not, and then finally I'll just tell you, because I am not allowed to debate, but I rule on the matter, but you're trying to navigate and play tricks with it. Black people need to liberate themselves. Liberate ourselves. We have a revenue stream. We might disagree on process. We might disagree on approach. But let us as a people come together, debate the matter, yes, robustly, but not destroy. And whereas, and I will clearly tell you where my thought coming from, whereas a lot of nations of Caucasian background have their program, but no black person is saying negative things about it. And that's my point. So let's proceed. Extra 7 minutes. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, but you see the problem I have?
Let's proceed.
Mr. Speaker, the problem I have is that I agree with you. I agree with you. And that is the point I was trying to bring across, because I believe we don't need a loan for this because our CBI can do it. That's what I was saying, but I wouldn't get a chance. I agree with you. It is our main revenue stream. It is 63% of our revenue annually, and we don't need to take a loan because 130 passports or exchanges could have done this. We could have generated the money, so we wouldn't have to take a loan. Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. You are absolutely right. So when I hear the minister pretending as if we cannot use our CBI to do that, that is why I begin to get confused. That is why I begin to get confused, because I believe the CBI program can do it. That's what I was
Proceed,
saying.
but
Mr.
don't
Speaker,
get
if you don't
don't
want
get
me
me
to talk
involved in
about
the debate. I
CBI,
make my point.
I
on
want
it.
to talk about it. Mr. Speaker, point number 3, we have a very heavy reliance on external borrowing. And I heard the minister attempt to touch on it. But I think we can do greater with diversifying our revenue streams, particularly because I just heard the Minister of Finance say that our CBI program is a temporary revenue stream. Right? I think greater work can be done in diversifying and reforming our tax base and reducing our fiscal leakages. And we have to get away from behaving as if taking loans can become a stopgap for financial leakages that we have in our program. Mr. Speaker, climate resilience, finally, climate resilience shouldn't be framed as debt. And I think we have a responsibility in this honorable house to continue to show our people and demonstrate that we wouldn't like to behave as if climate resilience and putting finances into that is some type of an investment. Because it isn't. Pay attention in class. If the loan is meant for climate resilience and relocation, can we demonstrate that we have exhausted all of our efforts in finding external funding, grants, partnerships, to ensure that we can do these types of relocation? Mr. Speaker, because we have institutions and agreements that continue to demonstrate that climate resilience is not a traditional capital investment. Like the minister was saying earlier on, we have to keep maintaining roads and other infrastructure. But those have means of generating funds. Those have means of generating money. The airport has means of generating money. But these kinds of investments, they don't show the type of commercial returns that we expect investments to do. So I think it is wise for us to be able to demonstrate a greater effort on showing that we have exhausted all other avenues of accessing free money. Mr. Speaker, we have examples like Fiji and the Maldives, and if the minister would like to comment on that, I think he should, who have successfully, who have successfully leveraged the Green Climate Fund for relocation and coastal protection. I get this, Mr. Speaker, without increasing their debt burden at all. And I think those kinds of things, and even if we're looking at a blended system where we're using CBI funds and grant funding, where we have free money that doesn't increase our burden of debt, I think it's a really good option, Mr. Speaker. And I think, based on what I heard from the minister, we haven't demonstrated that we have exhausted all of those options. Mr. Speaker, finally, the concern is not about borrowing itself, in and of itself. Government has to borrow. You can't run a country without borrowing. And the concern is not about providing environmental safeguards for our people. Let's not mix up all of those things. The concern, Mr. Speaker, is about the absence of evidence that we are learning and adapting and exhausting cheaper options that will yield bigger impacts. Mr. Speaker, as I close, we cannot continue to borrow on the backs of our children, grandchildren, and without a clear plan for debt reduction, economic transformation. Let us not confuse our people by allowing them to believe that infrastructure growth is true fiscal sustainability. One way or the other, Mr. Speaker, is short-lived. Mr. Speaker, we cannot oppose development, and we shouldn't. But we must insist on development that is transparent, accountable, and sustainable. Development that offers clarity, controls, and a path to long-term resilience. Without that, Mr. Speaker, facilities like the one being discussed today is at the risk of becoming yet another financial burden on our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs.
Yes, Honorable Prime Minister, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the Honourable Minister of Finance for bringing this motion before the House to borrow funds from the World Bank to assist our country with its social and economic development in the face of tremendous shocks, whether it's from natural disasters or the pandemic, or even the global geopolitical climate. Now, in 2006, and we were on a mission to get it to 60% of GDP, which is the benchmark established by the Monetary Council, produced by the Central Bank. Now, Mr. Speaker, that was absolutely impacted by Tropical Storm Erica, which affected 90% of our and when we had to replace significant public infrastructure and to provide tremendous support to families who were displaced and many businesses who were affected, help pay the salaries of those private sector entities, and to also provide cash grants to private sector entities to let them be a going concern while we rebuild. And we had to pay rent for hundreds of families at a cost of average of $1,000 a month, plus provide them with displacement allowance, while at the same time spending a significant amount of money to build homes, permanent homes for those persons. So when it comes to talking about fiscal responsibility and fiscal prudence, these terms are what describe and have described this Dominican Labour Party over the last 25 years in government. We have always been responsible, but at the same time responsive to the needs of our people. And mark you, Mr. Speaker, prior to this government coming to office, prior to 2004, no government was bothered with people who were affected by a natural disaster. No government built homes for anybody who was affected or helped you to fix your roof or to assist you when your homes got affected by a natural disaster. No government before this government, Mr. Speaker, gave farmers direct cash support because their farms were affected by a natural disaster, except when you had wind ban or whatever it was called, wind crop, for banana farmers who were insured and were paying insurance. We provided support because we understand that in times of adversity, in times of difficulties, we must always maintain the dignity of a human being. The dignity of a human being, Mr. Speaker. Because we recognize that a government is really a not-for-profit organization. The government is engaged in public good. And so there are investments that you will make that you will not have a return. But investments, nonetheless, you have to make. When we restore a significant portion of our water systems that have been affected, we don't expect DOASCO to make no big sort of profit from this because the amount that you would have to pay to get Dowasco to maintain itself to the extent that it should would be a burden to many people. Because this government recognizes that water and access to water is a public good in large measure. So we invest, and we have invested in water systems. When Maria hit, Mr. Speaker, we had over $260 million in an account, saving every month in order to build international airport. And I kept this money, Mr. Speaker, until it came to a point where I could no longer keep it in the account because there are still many families who are suffering, who are displaced, their livelihoods affected. And what do? Do I say, well, keep the money in the bank while people are suffering, people are homeless? Businesses affected, children overseas studying and the parents can't send anything to them? What do we do? Should I have told every child who was studying overseas to come back home because the government no longer has money? Or do we ensure that we provided the children, the students with the means of attaining their dream and the investment in education so that they can become independent actors in the global environment? And we spend the money. Had it not been for Hurricane Maria, Mr. Speaker, we would have had enough money to build our international airports in cash. But there comes a point, Mr. Speaker, when you have to give way to transformative and transformational projects and programs, because these projects and programs are what will bring you the revenue that you need to sustain the economy. And this is why we have prioritized in this period, Mr. Speaker, because we believe that if we do not do these things in this period, they will never happen again. Because no bank, no organization is going to give you money to build an airport. None. Ask St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Even in geothermal, Mr. Speaker, we have prioritized geothermal because we believe that this is going to help provide a better framework and environment for investment in Dominica, while reducing the cost to existing businesses in Dominica and homeowners. We could have easily said, leave it alone. Let's do something else. But that's not what you do. When you recognize that these things are crucial for the sustainability of the country. Running a country is no different from running our homes in large measure. That there's some things have to give and something have to take. You have to reprioritize. And that's what we've been doing. So it is not our responsibility. We have no legal responsibility to anybody who's affected by a storm to relocate you or resettle you. But we do so because of the guiding and founding principles of the Dominican Labour Party. And within ourselves and within myself as leader of the party, I believe that a government, a person has a duty to the less fortunate. So this is not a thing that we read in books. That is within our being, Mr. Speaker. And so we can come here and raise questions about the loans and so on, but the question is, do you support it? Do you support it? No? By inference, no? And so you come here and say, well, what about this community or that community? And not supporting the communities that have been mentioned to benefit is really being, really just using words. Really just, there's no intrinsic motivation. There's no guiding principle, Senator. So yes, we can raise questions and it's okay. We can respond. But I think there comes when we have to rise to the occasion. Rise to the occasion. And so, Mr. Speaker, I can say to people very clearly In my personal life, I do not like debt. And from the government standpoint, I do not like debt. I've always believed that money has to be managed, not spent. This is why I always encourage people who I encounter that as small as it is, save something. Save something. Well, it's $5. 5 plus 5 is 55. It will grow. Yes, 55. It will grow. 1 plus 1 is 11, Mr. Speaker. It will grow. It will grow. We have to save. And so if you look at our borrowing senators, you recognize that we've been very careful with the borrowing. And in large measure, Mr. Senators, our borrowing has been as a result of natural disasters, or in the case of the pandemic. We've not been reckless with going to borrow money as a previous government did. We've nothing to show. So I understand the genesis of your concern, but this has not been the actions of this government. Very careful. Very, very careful with how we borrow and who we borrow from and what we borrow for. And so, Mr. Speaker, I am very happy for the people of Campbell. They will remember that I went to Campbell in 2007 with the then Pal Rep when we were affected by a storm. And I suggested to them then that they should relocate. But everything else, when the storm settled and grass started going back and trees started going back and vines started going back, people feel comfortable in their homes, they don't want to leave. So really it was after Maria Blackmore, Erica, that some people decided that they want to move. And then in quick fashion we had Maria, which catapulted everything else. But I am happy that the government has prioritized the resettlement of Campbell. It has gone ahead and purchased the lands from Social Security to assist or facilitate the relocation of the people of Campbell. And I really want to thank the government for doing so. Likewise, Piri Soufriere that was affected in 2022 by a natural disaster. Of course, they have had a series of actions there, many times. But it came to a point where we went down and said to them, folks, you have to relocate. And eventually they agreed with us. And we've gone ahead, Mr. Speaker, and acquired the lands in Cassibruce to relocate the residents of Piri Soufriere, Saint-Sauveur, parts of Hoodhope, and there's some families in Morpo and Deeper and Cassibruce who will also form part of the mix, Mr. Speaker. The Minister of Finance has indicated that some of this money will be spent for marketing of Dominica. Marketing of Dominica. But I also believe, to Mr. Speaker, that DHT, and we have said so to them, and we're waiting the proposal from them, that the guests who come to Dominica, like every other country, that they contribute something, whether it's 10 US per guest, per room, per night, and that goes into a special fund that we'll use to help promote Dominica. It can't be only government that has to find money to market the country, no. Are we prepared to look at a special tax for this? Where's our individual responsibility? It can't be the government only clapping his hand, clapping one hand can clap. It requires all. And of course, road maintenance, procurement of equipment. All of these things will be captured under this. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say to the country that I've said before, and it's important that the senators take note of this, and to understand how responsible this government has been and how prudent this government has been. We were saving money. I've said so before, and it's worth repeating. We're saving money. When you speak about debt and our debt strategy, and we do have a debt strategy that has been presented to the Parliament. I'm not sure whether you read it. You have not read it. It was laid in the Parliament there. And we're saving to pay for national debt. And I wanted Dominica to be the first developing country in the world to have a 0% debt to GDP ratio. And then it was my intention to create a fund that will continue to pay into that fund as if we were still paying a debt. And use those monies as a reserve and also as a fund to help with cheaper financing to the private sector and small business owners in Dominica and for government public sector investment program. So we pay on average about $140 million a year debt repayment and interest payments. That would have gone into an account. Multiply by 5, you have over $700 million into an account every 5 years. That's what we're doing. So we're very careful with how we pay the debt. Now, people may say, well, cut NEP. Cut the 65 and over. Cut this, cut that. But the people who are telling you that are the people who have. The people who are telling you that are the people who have. And we cannot, as a people, we cannot ever, and this is why, whether I am in this party or not, I am the leader or not, and so on, this is why I'll stay in the periphery to ensure that this party remains true to the people. The people, especially those who cannot help themselves. Because politics and government is about people, not about paper and files. It's about human beings. And I have seen, and many of you have seen, the impact of the National Employment Program on the lives and livelihoods of so many people across the country. This program has taken people out of poverty immediately, Mr. Speaker. Plus those who on the program who receive homes, plus the children attending school, they have access to internet, light, water. And when you have less poverty, people can spend more. People can spend more revenue. So these social programs do have an important role to play in economic development. So, yes, we could cut this, cut that, and some people tell you, well, cut the NEP and give that to this. So you're not to say that you cut and reduce expenditure. Take it from the NEP and give it to them because that's where the benefits are. How selfish we can be. But as long as they're in the Prime Minister of this country, these programs are going to be there. They'll be reviewed as time goes by. They will be assessed and evaluated. We'll strengthen it. We'll improve it. But these programs are important programs for the people of this country. And yes, the issue of housing, yes, it has to be reviewed as to how we go about granting somebody a home, under what conditions we grant somebody a home. But the principle must not be compromised. The principle behind it, the philosophy behind it, cannot be compromised. And so we have to be responsive, but responsible. And I think where the voices of the opposition, the senators, are important, and I think that's where you should be focusing as a parliament because people outside listen to us. And when I say outside, I'm only talking about Dominica, I'm talking about the international community. Where's our voice on the issue of climate change and climate justice? That's one of the very reasons why we're here, Maureen. Communities have been decimated because of the impact of climate change. People's livelihoods have been affected because of climate change. People's way of life, agriculture as we know it, is being affected dramatically because of climate change. That's why we should be lending our voice, because when you look at our debt to GDP ratio, our debt, a significant percentage of our debt has been to respond to natural disasters and external shocks. So I don't want us to make this thing an academic exercise, Mr. Speaker. This is real life things we're talking about. And this is not about this protecting the social safety. It's not about being generous, Mr. Speaker. It's about being empathetic. When we were going to school, wouldn't we have loved for the government to provide a free bus to us to go to school? Don't look at your circumstance today. Look at where you were. And how many of your brothers and sisters were denied to go to school because your parents couldn't afford, and so they had to go to work on the farms at age 14 and 13 and 12, so that you alone in the family could go to high school. That's how we have to look at life. So yes, we can cut this because this can cost money, and it's no obligation. The government has four basic responsibilities. Basic infrastructure. That is why all our bridges were one lane. All they had to do is to get you from the one side of the bridge to the river to the other. Basic health care, which means that you go to the health center, they dress your sore for you, but when you go to the hospital, you have to pay. There was no overseas medical care until we came into government for people, because the government responsibilities for basic health care, primary health care. Basic education, which means that when you get to age 16, you have to leave school. You have to leave school. This idea of government giving you money to go overseas, that wasn't happening because the scholarships we got in the 60s and 70s were scholarships funded by external agencies. I went to school, Mr. Speaker. I got not $1 from the government. Not one. But just because I did not get, I should deny other people the injustice of not getting the opportunity to go to school because they're bright children. So you have to be motivated, Mr. Speaker, by empathy. And so basic education is taught at high school, at age 16. This is why when children would repeat a class at 16, they send you home, because they're no longer responsible for you. And so yes, the Minister of Finance referenced the free tuition at the college. But this is in an effort to ensure that every child in Dominica, irrespective of your station in life, is given a fair chance to succeed by giving you not only the access to education, but the means, because you can have access and not have the means. Because if you have Creole Festival, there's the access. But if you have the money to pay, you have to stow away. And when you stow away, the police arrest you. But in education, you can't stow away in class. You have to be registered. And so what we say to children, what we say to parents, is that you must not take those things for granted. Take advantage of it. Be the best student that you can be. Be the brightest student that you are. And move on to the next level. And empower yourself to be independent actors in the economy of the country and the global economy. And so, Mr. Speaker, while from a personal standpoint and from a government standpoint, we know I don't believe in debt. I don't like debt. Debt is important. It's an important source of funds. And all of us, we take debt, whether it's to build a home, to buy a motor car, to deal with a family emergency, healthcare. All of us have debt inside. I am sure how many human beings don't have debt. Even the millionaires, billionaires have debt. Because they borrow. because it is always not advisable to use your cash. And then one time I go to the credit, the bank, they always tell me that. I say, I don't want to, I'm careful with this thing. I'm very judicious with debt, unless it is in an extreme circumstance. But I want to say to the country and to say to the parliament that we do have a debt strategy. And even in all of these challenges we're having, we've been saving in a vulnerability risk reduction fund established some years ago during the COVID period, and it is resident in the central bank. And we have been able to draw down from those funds, Mr. Speaker, to do the walls and bells, to do the water crossings in St. Joe and Layu, and in Makushri, and the retaining wall in Bios. And we're saving and that's to tell you how monies when you save it can build. We're only saving for a time being because of the fiscal challenges, $500,000. $500,000. And so when things get better, when the fiscal situation gets better, the revenue increases more, and the other projects that we have are coming to an end, which will give us some greater access to financing, will increase it dramatically. We've also, in the debt strategy, have the intention of establishing a debt repayment fund. So the issue of future generations, we have that in the debt strategy to ensure that future generations will have a fund that they can draw down from when they have difficulty in the fiscal space to pay the debt, that they'll draw down from that fund. And I believe that come 2026, we'll be in a position to start depositing money into this account and to have it at a low, at $142 million as the floor. And so when you look at even this debt, Senator, you're talking about a 10-year grace period. A 10-year grace period. So it gives us the opportunity to implement those projects, to benefit from them, and gives you greater leverage and room to manage your debt portfolio, your debt obligations. So it's not a debt that's going to come in now, tomorrow. We have a 10-year grace period, which is important. And it reminds me of a lot of monies that we put at the aid bank, and we give homeowners because we felt that the average house should be constructed in 6 months. So while you're paying your rent, you can build your home at ease, because the challenge people have is that they're paying a rent of $1,000 and they're paying a mortgage at the same time, and makes life difficult for them. So that's why some people's homes are incomplete and they move in. They have to save $1,000. So we didn't have real life situations there. This is not an academic exercise. Real life situations. And this is why we took a deliberate decision that part of those funds will go towards the resettlement of Pile Soufrière, Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, and Campbell. And also part of those funds will also be used to pay some of our service providers who we owe, so that we fulfill our commitment to them, our obligation to them. And so we will be paying about $30 or so million to service providers, Mr. Speaker, and clear off those we owe once and for all, Mr. Speaker. And so in essence, senators, all of this money is going to be spent in Dominican. And those that will be spent overseas for marketing, it will benefit the hotels and the guest houses and the Airbnb in Dominica and the taxi operators in Dominica. So this is what it is. So rest assured that this loan has not been taken in isolation. It has not been taken in indifference to our ability to repay or inability to pay. It has been given careful consideration. Careful consideration. But we believe that it is monies that are well spent. And so we look forward to us receiving those funds once Parliament would have approved. And we are ready to move with the construction of homes in Campbell. We have designs. We have designs for Petit Soufrière already, and we are ready to move by utilizing local contractors who will build those homes for us, hoping that they can build those homes for us with efficiency and speed, Mr. Speaker. So I thank you, and I hope my comments would have addressed the questions I heard you ask. And if you think it has not, you're free to stand and ask me and tell me which ones I didn't answer. I'm Senator Paris, please. No? I would like us to have a conversation if you have a question too. Yeah, I'm serious, yeah. Tell me which one. Tell me which one. Tell me which one.
Give me an opportunity like that for me to miss it. I have concerns about the empowerment of the young people and our skills people in those communities, and Dominica at large, empowering them to participate meaningfully. That is always a problem.
Okay.
That I have. Mr. Prime Minister, just let me say, I like this opportunity here. Because engage, I love this. I always have a concern that there's tremendous more room for us to empower young people in the fields, young engineers, young contractors, and people who exist in the field.
But which ones
No, but
we're
let me
not
finish asking
engaging?
questions.
No, but please. But which ones we're not engaging? Because you make a statement.
No, that is not a statement, that is a question.
No, but you make a general, there's a statement you're making. You make a statement, there's a question. I'm an English teacher. There's a statement. I mean, you are making an assertion, a general assertion.
Yes.
But the question is, who are you talking about? Because every contractor I speak to are telling me, Prime Minister, we need workers from overseas as an emergency.
But that's exactly the point I'm making.
Because they either have exhausted the local market in many respects, and two, people are not availing themselves. So and I keep telling them, but why don't you guys speak about this publicly? Why are you giving people, why is it that in the country we have the notion or the view that there's no work, when every person, whether it's the supermarkets who are asking for foreign workers, whether it's the hotels asking for foreign workers, they all ask us for foreign workers. And so if you have particular names of engineers, because all of the works that we're doing, we're begging for an engineer. The FS had to go and literally beg a local engineer to come on the road enhancement project. We advertise those things, comrade. The basic needs trust fund, the projects, the water sector, we need engineers. The problem I mean, some have is that everybody wants to be everybody wants their own shingle in town, rather than working together. So, a civil engineer, a structural engineer.
So, Senator, take your seat still, and then you'll get up and ask another question. If you go, no, two members cannot be standing at the same time. So just sit and then make him respond, and you'll come back.
So I'm saying that if you take a geothermal, for example, you will have it because internationally tendered. But all of the subcontracting have been done for local Dominicans. All of the interventions we're doing now, whether it's in Makusri or Bells or St. Joe, are local contractors. We're going to be all of the homes we're doing in the Kalinago territory are indigenous Kalinagos doing them. All the people who built Jungle Bay were all Dominicans, uncle. All. Your firm was engaged on the Marriott Hotel in Portsmouth. Yes, Stuco was engaged. I mean, come on, let's be honest. If you tell me, well, we need more work, I will find it me. But don't tell me that Dominicans are not being engaged. This is not true. Yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying, uncle?
But if you give me a chance, I'll explain it to you. You want me to explain it to you? The reason that we're having a problem with finding workers is because they're finding opportunities elsewhere. Why? Because there's not enough training going on that helps us. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Please
What I'm
allow,
suggesting-
hold on, members. The Prime Minister is on his feet. Please allow him to have an interaction in an unprecedented manner. That's why I'm watching the rule book, but the Prime Minister make a move on it. So let them debate.
Paris, training is always needed.
No, but let
So-
me give you an example.
Yeah.
Before I finish, you can't answer before I finish.
Go ahead.
Let me give you an example. On the international airport, right?
Yeah.
And I've said this here before.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think we conflate the issues because it's an opposition and a
No,
thing that
no.
we conflate it, right?
Go ahead.
But we have an opportunity to create a number of training programs on these areas. Wait. You eager to answer? Wait, let the question finish.
Because your premise is wrong.
No, hold on.
So anything you
it's
say
not
after that is wrong.
The reason why we have so much of a drain all of the time is that people are not finding reasons to
That-
stay,
but-
and
but-
we need to create
but
systems
Paris-
that continue to empower them and equip them to stay.
Paris, if you say, please, I'll say this. If you say that you want a job on the airport, tell me that.
I don't.
No, but somebody, because you do not know who's engaged. At the
want
lab,
to have a genuine
at, no, but-
interaction
no,
with
but
you,
at
isn't
the
it?
lab, Mr. Paris, Senator Paris, there are Dominicans who are working side by side, the international experts, and they are being the ones running the lab, the Dominicans there. If you go on the airport, there's a Dr. Peltier, or last name, who is the main engineer, Dominican lady there. There's several Dominicans engaged in technical fields. There's a young lady from Marigot there. If you know of anybody who has particular skills and who believe we can engage, we're more than prepared to look at that. We're more than prepared to look at that. Just want to tell you, let us be specific. If you have names of people who have an interest in working and learning and so forth, great. I can give you the assurance that I will get them engaged. But it must be. But nobody cannot make. But before I make inquiries, you can't make a blanket statement.
That allows for training of our people, consistent training, so that when we need workers, we always have, because they will always go. That's what I'm
But
talking
only
about.
all of the projects you have and you engage contractors is the expectation that they will engage local Dominicans and local contractors. I'm talking about who will be getting on-the-job training. That's what it is. So I'm trying to understand your point anyway.
I realize you're struggling.
No, but I try to understand your point because you're making a statement that is not steep. In fact,
What is it, Steve? Obviously, you know.
there's no you're making an assumption on something you don't know. So I suspect that you may be looking for workers and you can't find.
A what?
That you may be looking for workers and you can't find. Anyway, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Prime Minister, I really wanted to have an engagement with you, because you created this opportunity and I do not.
No problem. I know where
I
you
don't want us to
were.
water it down.
I know where you were. There was no seats for you, and there was nobody trying to listen to you as a young person. So I will afford you the opportunity that you and I can meet and we can talk about all the things that you want to talk about. Because no, not there now. Outside. Because as you said, that in the Workers' Party, there's no place for a young person.
What's the relevance of
Well,
that? What is the relevance of that? There's no relevance. That don't have nothing to do with the resolution.
I agree with you.
Relevance
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
The relevance of Senator is that I am prepared to listen to you. I am prepared to listen to you. That's the relevance thing. Because was that? No. As I tell you, you have to conduct yourself as a young lady differently. I keep telling you that privately. This is not a street jump up, darling. This is Parliament. So be careful how you conduct yourself. This is not. Please. I don't want to say it's publicity, but I say it to you on our side sometimes when I speak to you. Please conduct yourself better than that. But no, I'm prepared to meet on this because it's a conversation I believe that the country needs to have. Because, Mr. Speaker, when I meet a lot of contractors and I meet private sector people, they all complain to me that they can't find workers. And I'm saying to them, that the narrative out there in the public domain is that there's no work. So let us have this said publicly, because a number of them, Mr. Paris, Senator Paris, are applying to the Ministry of Labor to get work permits for non-nationals to come into work on construction firms, to come into work at the hotels, to come into work at supermarkets. That's what we have now, a number of them. So I'm saying, let us look at it. Training will always be required. This is why we are spending money on education. This is why we're providing scholarships to young people to go out to study, and we encourage people to go into the technical fields. This is why we're going to transform. We're going to transform the new Goodwill School into a center of excellence for technical vocational education, and have a national center for this, because we recognize that technical skills are going to be even more important in this country than ever before, because of the opportunities, the expansion of the economy, the more hotel rooms, the marina have been constructed, international airport, the cruise village that's coming, the new cargo port that's coming, and you're going to have the hospitals, and that's one of the challenges we have, the hospital, Mr. Speaker, is that the staffing that you need at the hospital to carry the rail bolts and so on, you can't find those persons to do those kind of things. You see what I'm saying? You can't find, because but let's, I don't know why people talk about we have to do something. I went to school in the United States. I funded my education. I didn't have a government to tell me to come back home, to come make a contribution to my country. I came back. No, but we have to have a national responsibility. National responsibility. Someone can't induce you to come back to your country. No, you have a duty to your country. Why do you think that we are recruiting so many doctors from Cuba? Because we have a gap. So there are jobs. Why do you think we have foreign engineers? Because we have a gap. There are jobs. People make a choice.
Senator, if you want to speak in the mic, because we're doing
Make a
something
choice.
unprecedented.
No,
there.
it's okay. You
Yeah.
make a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice, a personal choice. The people who move for different reasons. For different reasons. It's a choice. It's a choice. So there are different reasons. We can examine the reasons. But the opportunities that we have, we ourselves, when you go to school, we also have to create our own opportunities too. By the facilitation of the government. There's always been a gap. There'll always be a gap.
So,
There'll always be a gap.
So, Honorable Prime Minister, in regards to that matter, I think you have exhausted it.
I
I don't know
agree.
if you want to allow him to ask another question, or we can move on. Okay, good.
No, Mr. Speaker, I want to.
Yes, yeah, okay.
I want to make my final point is that this money will be used, as we said, judiciously. We have identified the areas that this money will be spent, and all of this money will be spent in the local economy of Dominica to create jobs, to help grow the economy, to sustain our social safety net and programs, to ensure that those among us who cannot take care of themselves are provided for by the state. There'll always be other priorities that could have been identified. But in everything, Mr. Speaker, you have to prioritize. What comes first, what comes second, what comes third. And I believe that the areas that the Ministry of Finance and Advice have provided there, the Ministry of Finance, I believe that they're crucial areas which will address a number of challenges confronting people. And for me, personally, the most important area is the resettlement of Campbell and the resettlement of Petite Soufrière. Because I know, I have been to those communities. I know the anxiety of these people. I speak to them on a daily basis. People who send me WhatsApp messages, people who I meet and who I encounter. And I believe that is an important day. And if I want us to leave this parliament with any other thing, Mr. Speaker, is that finally, that these people will be provided with resilient homes, comfortable homes, and homes that will become theirs with a title, and that they can pass on to their people, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This measure before the Honorable House. I assume it's a very hard mountain to climb to speak after the Honorable Prime Minister. But I felt obliged so to do because I'm a little emotional here this morning. And in light of what is about to happen as a result again of the Dominican Labour Party. The member of Parliament for Mau is not there, but because of my historical attachment to that area, I will try to speak to it. But Mr. Speaker, I want to make reference to Honorable Delbert Paris, who ran outside just now. He knows why. And it appears, Mr. Speaker, that he's still suffering from the aftershocks as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder. And that was evident there this morning. Disoriented, confused, Mr. Speaker. But those things happen when you do not respect and follow your leader. And as that was manifested this morning, he tried to take you on being the Speaker of the House. You have to respect your leader. And I may be inclined to ask for division again, because he did not say whether he was supporting the loan facility or not. But Mr. Speaker, I listened to him, but I want to say that here this morning. And our very presence here this morning, all of us, members of this honorable House, and those sitting outside the area where we are as members, but as well-renowned, distinguished public servants. We're here today on the 19th day of May 2025 as a result of the fiscal and financial resilience of this country, Mr. Speaker. Let us make this clear. We're here, including him, the Honorable Senator Delbert Paris, well-dressed, shining. The country is so hard. Why are you shining and bursting like that? I don't understand that. But, Mr. Speaker, we seem to underestimate where we are coming from in this country. When Hurricane Maria struck, Mr. Speaker, out of the housing stock of 25,414, only 78 were not impacted. It means, therefore, Mr. Speaker, every house except the 78 that I just referenced was either totally destroyed, damaged, or impacted, Mr. Speaker. The overall loss of the economy, over $3.2 billion. Mr. Speaker, today we're here standing well attired, driving on nice roads. We have better houses, Mr. Speaker. It is as a result of the financial and fiscal, Mr. Speaker, management and resilience of this country under the supervision of the Prime Minister and the most stable party to be in government in the history of this country, the Dominican Labour Party, Mr. Speaker. Let's not forget that. So that they're trembling, they're not stable. If you're not stable, come to the stable side, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Paris. Mr. Speaker, let us talk to the fundamentals of the economy in 2025. They want to have the cake and eat it. It doesn't happen both ways. They want nicer roads. They want better things. But they don't want the government to take loans. They don't want the government to continue the CBI program. Mr. Speaker, the mere fact that this government can attract concessionary loans is as a result of the respect and the fiscal management of this country that have been demonstrated and manifested by the Dominican Labour Party administration, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's talk to the fundamentals. He made reference to the debt ratio to our GDP. The most advanced economy in the world, United States of America. What is the debt to GDP ratio? 124%. So that has to be measured. Your debt to the GDP ratio is relative to your overall GDP, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, coming from Erica, and before that, we had Ophelia, and then Hurricane Maria, Mr. Speaker. You have to borrow. You have to attract grants, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, he made reference about the country owing money. Let's, Mr. Speaker, our current account deficit, Mr. Speaker, that is in totality what we export in terms of the goods and services and transfer relative to what you import, Mr. Speaker. What does it stand right now? It is 42% of our GDP, Mr. Speaker. 2% less than 2023, Mr. Speaker. It means that we're doing something well, notwithstanding the shocks that we have suffered, Mr. Speaker. Down by 2%. Our inflation, Mr. Speaker, is down to pre-COVID period, Mr. Speaker, from 7.1% to 3.1%, Mr. Speaker, in 2024. Our economy rose, Mr. Speaker, in 2024 to 3.5%, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding what we suffered before, Mr. Speaker. But they're not referencing that. And in terms of tourism, Mr. Speaker, and I want to commend the Minister for Tourism. I want to commend you, Honorable Dennis Charles. Take a bow. Take a bow. For the tremendous work that you have done along your permanent secretary and your team. Mr. Speaker, do you know that? They're not speaking about that. Our tourism arrival has exceeded, Mr. Speaker, pre-COVID period, Mr. Speaker, by 42%, Mr. Speaker. And what we shall do going forward, Mr. Speaker, building our international airport, building more rooms, hotel rooms, Mr. Speaker, is to augment our capacity in terms of our traditional occupation, Mr. Speaker. And that's what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. So they come here talking, but they're not talking to the empirical data. They're not interested in that, Mr. Speaker. They're not interested in that. They want to have the cake and eat it, Mr. Speaker. And it is frustrating, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I heard the Minister for Housing, and she has to be commended too. It's the first time I can recall, I do plenty of research. I can't recall there being a female, a woman, who has served as the Minister for Housing. And she is demonstrating that women are equally competent as men. Or sometimes better, Mr. Speaker. And we are moving forward. And I want to say thank you before I go to Campbell, Mr. Speaker. Because it's very dear to my heart. I still have the list of all the impacted families, Mr. Speaker. And I'm happy for Alfia, whose home disappeared, decimated. There was the only disco after Agdan in Campbell as a result of Erica. Mr. Speaker, she called me and sent me a video 4 o'clock in the morning when that happened. I'm thinking of the council clerk, Juliet Esprit, and a son, a young son, who perished in 2007. And when the Prime Minister came there with me, and the Prime Minister laid on the table the need for Campbell to be relocated, and I was supporting that. I spoke to them about that. And the people of Campbell are loving people, hardworking people. That's the only place, only areas in the constituency when I went. My wife knew I went to Campbell. But I came back with dashing, I came back with everything. Wonderful, hardworking people. I'm so happy for the people of Campbell. Before Hurricane Maria, the then PS in housing, Mr. Savre, and all his technical staff, we met in housing, along with the chairperson of the Campbell Village Council and a member of a committee that we had. And we looked at the various options by way of designs. And the people were getting despondent, and they were getting frustrated. But then Maria came, and the landscape changed. But with the Labour Party administration, I kept on saying to them, and then the PAREP currently kept on saying to them, that once the Labour Party is in office, once the Prime Minister continues to serve as Prime Minister and the Labour Party is in office, you, the people of Campbell, shall be taken to safer grounds, Mr. Speaker. And today that is being manifested, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to say something. I'm also happy because as the Minister for Public Works, when I went to Petit Soufrière, and I saw the condition and the devastation, we were not able to drive. Not even a four-wheel drive could have actually maneuvered the road. And I said to myself, that was crucial runnings. But it's Labour Party again. Labour Party. I want these people to sit here and they speak like nothing's happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. I went to Granby a couple of weeks ago. When I saw what is happening in the center area, Honorable Henderson, you have a community within a community being developed in Granby. 86, I'll say it, I can say what I want. My age right now, with grandchildren. Well, children. No, you can say a community within a community. You can't tell me my good friend, Pastor Dimo Sapudi. Community within a community. 86, Mr. Speaker. 86, Minister, I say what I want. 86, Mr. Speaker. Sustainable, hurricane-proof houses, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. Even a church is being built in that area, a Protestant church. Yeah? So this government actually is all embracing in terms of religious belief. Okay? A fire station is being built to house 20 fire officers. A new magistrate court is being built, Mr. Speaker. So a community is being built within a community. But the minister who is responsible for Granby is called how you want. But I am just defining it within my own psyche, what I've seen, right, sir? And appreciation for what I've seen. Well, a new community is being built. And I'm happy for the people of Granby. And why am I happy for the people of Granby? Because Granby has been one of the bastions of labor historically. And I'm certain that Honorable Pierre Charles, a stalwart of Dominican politics, who fought for the people of this Granby constituency and Dominica by extension, must be smiling in his grave, Mr. Speaker. And Honorable Rosie Douglas, may the soul rest in peace, who spoke about the housing revolution during the 2000 election. When he made reference to the housing revolution, Mr. Speaker, I'm certain, Dr. Mark, he was not talking in terms of what is happening today. Because Honorable Vince Anderson was the Minister for Housing. When a man, Mr. Thomas, took me and went to Kenny Phillips, the house is still there, by the road. And they built that house. That house was built in maybe 3 weeks. But it's still standing. That was the concept he had. You got my point I'm saying? We try things. That's about 2000. Okay? But now when you go around the length and breadth of this country, not only Granby, you go to Dalis, you go around the country, you go to Jimmy, and you come to Ken Phillips just now, and you go to Scott Z. You can see the Labour Party is the only party in the history of this country who has been serious about building houses for the poor and the people on the margins and shadows of society, Mr. Speaker. But they cannot stand there and say that. They come there, just sending little uppercuts. And when I stand to speak, they remain and I. But Mr. Speaker, and you had the freedom. But the fact of the matter is, with your permission, Mr. Speaker, fellas have to understand you can be slippery. You understand? But when you're slippery, we know how to hold slippery elements. You understand? And then that is why, Mr. Speaker, he had to get himself in a situation whereby he had to resign. Not there. He had to resign. I'm sorry about that because he's a good guy. Right? Because he has to run because I'm going to ask for division again. You understand? I'm going to ask for a vote. So he doesn't want to vote. But Mr. Speaker, in just winding up, Mr. Speaker, I'm winding up. I must say, Mr. Speaker, to all those of us, Mr. Speaker, including yourself, you're from the Rosa area, who knew Dominica before, and who are now witnessing what is happening now, must be pleased to see the transformation that's taking place on behalf of the people of this country, the poor and the downtrodden, and those who have been in the shadows of society, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, not only are we stopping, because I'm saying to you, the people of Laipa, and only Minister for Housing have that. And the people of Peter Sufre must be saying, that is true now. I know a good friend, the member of parliament, is not there. But yet it is true. And when they come there and they spoke about the loan that my friend there from Salisbury, a good friend, I don't give a blows because they just tell me those things about them. Are not. to say they're not sure whether the loan will be spent for the purpose. But I don't understand that. All the houses are being built. You go to Granby now, you see the road being built. Isn't that so? Before you take Pishler there, you see the road that's going to be more secured and safer for people to commute. Where the money going now? You can now drive one last of it into Castle and Carnago territory. Wonderful roads. Okay? So what more? What else can the Labour Party administration do to demonstrate to the people of this country, these dissenting voices, that it's only this government that have taken steps to transform this country in every facet of the world development than the Dominican Labour Party administration, Mr. Speaker? What more can we do? The airport is being built. The airport is being built. Now, how are we sure the money is going to be spent? Go to the valley and see what is happening. Geothermal plant is being built. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you something. Can we imagine what is taking place in the valley? Geothermal energy, that's science, Mr. Speaker. You're a science man. We drill the test wells. We drill the production wells without any minor incident, farthest one incident. They were calling for explosion. They said that we're going to facilitate and initiate. I never knew you could facilitate and initiate. Oof, wait, first why is that? All right? All right? Now, the plant is being built. The transmission lines, Mr. Speaker, and under the leadership of this government, the people of Dominica are going to have the most reliable and energy grid in the history of this country, Mr. Speaker, with geothermal coming on stream, Mr. Speaker. Right. That is a game changer for us in this country to actually give us the comparative edge to try to encourage energy-intensive industries, Mr. Speaker, in this country, and to create the environment for growth, Mr. Speaker. We are rooted, Mr. Speaker. The Labour Party administration is rooted. No. Rooted. You know what again?
In peace.
No. Rooted in peace?
Yes.
And grounded in what? But you have to know the thing.
And driven by progress.
And driven by what?
Progress.
Thank you, you know it very well. Grounded, rooted, and driven by progress, Mr. Speaker. Only Labour Party can do that. So my advice to you guys on the other side, as I close, my advice to you guys on the other side, it's not your fault, it happens.
Honorable, not you guys, it's unparliamentary. Honorable members.
The members of the Honorable House. It happens sometimes in the historical life of a country that political parties degenerate into interest groups. And that's essentially what the Workers' Party is. That's degenerated into an interest group, a collection of selfishness, Mr. Speaker, and self-interest. You cannot build a country by way of an interest group. So I'm saying that Honorable Charles, my good friend, is starting to gravitate. Don't gravitate, initiate, and come on board. Because you have a choice. Understand? My good friend from Salisbury, others. You understand? You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And my good friend, Mr. Paris, who ran outside, I started speaking. He told me I mess him up. But I was the one who messed him up. You would have voted, you know. I simply placed a motion before the Honorable House, and you voted, I mess you up. So I came down, hold on now. I will tell you to say, am I an instructor of AI now? I'm not. You said that. Sorry. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this measure, and I wish the Minister for Housing well. And, Mr. Speaker, may God bless this beautiful country, Mr. Speaker. May God bless this beautiful country, Mr. Speaker. For where we have come, okay, Maria, before that, Ophelia, Erica, I must start again, all right? COVID, Mr. Speaker, and now, Mr. Speaker, is a miraculous endeavor to have gotten us there, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, long live the Dominican Labour Party administration, and long live Dominica. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
But the Honorable Blackmore, you said you are grandpa, but you're not looking old. You're not looking old. You're looking good, grandpa. You said you are grandpa.
I'm looking good, but if you said I'm looking good, you're not a good partner long before that. But I do not feel encouraged or amused when somebody tell me I'm looking good, a man. I prefer.
No, focus on the grandpapa.
What's that?
The grandpa.
Oh, thank you. Oh, grandpa. I thought you started looking good. I don't like that. But we're partners. All right.
Okay, Senator, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you'd imagine, I stand to give my full, my complete, my total support, my everything to this motion before the House. But Mr. Speaker, when I came there this morning, I had a particular sequence in my mind. I thought the Minister of Finance would have presented the motion, the Honorable Minister of Housing, of course, made a presentation, and in the absence of the member for Castle Rose, my parliamentary representative, as second in command, I would have made my contribution. But Mr. Speaker, $69,930,000, Mr. Speaker, part of this is going to go towards the housing project in Castle Bruce for the relocation of Good Hope, Peter Sufri and Sansovay, and of course Campbell. Mr. Speaker, the question we should be asking is why not more? Why not the complete relocation of all of the people in Peter Sufri, all in Sansovay, and in Good Hope? Because, Mr. Speaker, anybody who witnessed, who understood what our people went through after the trough in 2022 would be saying, let us just relocate these people completely now. Mr. Speaker, but to come here, and I got a bit upset, so much so I drank the whole bottle of water. I was a bit, because economic weakness, fiscal irresponsibility for spending money to relocate our people in Pidi Sufria, people who still have psychological scars from what happened in 2022. The economic scars, Mr. Speaker. And if you go to Pidi Sufria today, Mr. Speaker, you will still see visible signs of what my people went through. And you come in asking to go for grants, go and get grants, and do this, and why that, and the CBI, the same CBI you all are actively trying to destroy. Mr. Speaker, if not loans, then what? If the loans, not what? Because, why know what's going on, Mr. Speaker? Because you see, Isaac Baptist was a whip on Delbert Parry's back. So right now, we're going to try to take it out on the people of Castle constituency. But I can say to you all have no place in the Castle constituency anymore. The UDLP have no place in that constituency anymore. So what you want to do is, don't worry with them. Whatever happens. Because you all cannot dress in blue and walk in Pidi Sufria, not walk in Sansovay, and you all have very, very little support in Good Hope these days. Because they were party in charge of the constituency.
Senator, please avoid speaking or calling people's name in a negative tone,
Yes,
who are not in Parliament.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So I would ask you to withdraw.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah,
Mr. Speaker,
withdraw.
this is extremely good news, Mr. Speaker, for the people of Good Hope, Sansovay, Pidi Sufria, and I'm sure for the residents of Campbell as well. Mr. Speaker, in the case of Good Hope, Sansovay, and Pidi Sufria, these are vulnerable communities that continue to bear, as I said, the psychological and economic scars of this devastating trough system that struck them in 2022. That event brought widespread flooding, landslides, and displacements. the impacts remain visible as of today. Mr. Speaker, on November 6, 2022, while the rest of the country was going about its business as normal, in the Castle Bruce constituency, we had activated a full-scale emergency disaster response. Full scale. Our constituency was completely cut off from the rest of the country. And even within the constituency itself, some of the communities were inaccessible. Petit Soufriere suffered the most severe damage. There was a loss of life, Mr. Speaker. Today, some of the families remain displaced, among them Presley Durant and his siblings, who lost their father Henson Durant to a massive landslide. This was indeed a deeply tragic situation. And although nearly 3 years have passed, Mr. Speaker, I still want to convey my condolences to the people, to the family who lost their father, to those who lost their homes and their property to this dreadful event. In fact, a few families have remained displaced since the trough in 2022. This validates, Mr. Speaker, the urgency and the humanitarian necessity of the relocation, not just physical mitigation, but psychological recovery. The announcement of this financing marks a significant turning point in line of the commitment by Prime Minister Skerrit to ensure the physical relocation of affected residents to safer grounds in Castle Bruce. I've had the opportunity to view the 3D designs of this project created by Corey Sav, and he did that during a presentation of a large cross-section of residents in the benefiting communities. And I can confidently say that the development will be a truly impressive edifice, offering a spectacular view of the Castle Bruce Bay, the Mont Trois-Piton, and the famous Castle Bruce Twin Islets. This product will feature 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, along with green spaces for recreation and designated commercial areas. This upcoming housing development highlights that this is not only about relocation, but upward social mobility for some. It is envisioned a fully modern, climate-resilient development that reflects the high standards of planning and design. Importantly, every aspect of this project has been carefully considered, with valuable inputs from the community members who serve on the East Relocation Committee, ensuring that the final result meets the needs of those who will call this place home. The residents deserve the very best, and this government is making sure that they receive exactly that. In other jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, governments may consider temporary housing for people affected by natural disasters. However, in Dominica, this Dominican Labour Party government ensures that those who have been displaced are provided with new permanent homes for free. Mr. Speaker, this is nothing short but extraordinary. Because in the past, when natural disasters impact residents, people were largely left to fend for themselves. They were not given homes. The homes repairs were not considered responsibility of government. The only assistance, Mr. Speaker, they were sure of was ration. And in those days, what ration? Butter, oil, and corned beef hash. Butter, oil, and corned beef hash, and some flour. Mr. Speaker, but talking about ration. Let's talk about ration a little bit. Mr. Speaker, after the trough affected us in the East, as part of the decisive and thorough response of the government, every household within the Castle Bruce constituency received a food supply and water for more than a month. Mr. Speaker, and these efforts for more than a month, every day, we fed our people and we gave them water, even those who were not affected in Castle Bruce. Mr. Speaker, these efforts were overseen by the Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Ms. Anderson, and as you can imagine, under her coordination, the response was high quality, high volume, on time, and consistent. So in keeping, Mr. Speaker, with an already established pattern, of excellence. The housing being developed for our wonderful people in the affected communities will meet the same standards. The same level of care, quality, and attention to detail that has characterized previous housing initiatives will be reflected in the new development, ensuring that every resident can look forward to a secure and uplifting living environment. Mr. Speaker, my heart is pleased. My heart is pleased. I am genuinely happy about the progress we have made to bring us to this juncture. The people of Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, and Petit-Soufrière have exercised the highest level of patience and understanding. They fully recognize that a project of this magnitude will take time, yet at every stage, from the voluntary land acquisition process to the environmental impact study, to the draft designs and a host of other important activities, they were kept engaged and informed. They were part of the process, and they understood the necessity of every step. The government acquired some over 23 acres of land, compensated landowners $1,519,370.85, Mr. Speaker, to date. Mr. Speaker, that money lying down in Castle Bruce. That money lying in Castle Bruce. $1.5 million in Castle Bruce today because of this project. This significant investment not only ensured the fair payment of the land, but also empowered many recipients to make meaningful improvements to their lives. Some landowners have used these funds to start small businesses, improve their homes, and invest in their family's future. I eagerly anticipate the employment opportunities that will be created once this project is fully underway. And I can say to Senator Paris, we have enough contractors in Castle Bruce and skillsmen in Castle Bruce. And just yesterday, one called me and asked me, Ostell, when you are giving the bids, because you want to bid for the project. And we have a whole list of contractors that are just waiting for the project to start. A few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, I visited the site and witnessed that the land was being prepared for the start of construction. And I was very satisfied. The people of the Castle Bruce constituency, I want you to know this, that there's a committed team working tirelessly on your behalf. Your parliamentary representative and your senator are hard at work every single day, doing whatever is necessary to improve your lives and to ensure that you have access to every opportunity available. For me personally, in my very, very small role, nothing brings me greater peace of mind, Mr. Speaker, knowing that I'm able to make a difference in the life of our constituents. In my very, very small role, I'm a small fry. But, Mr. Speaker, whatever I do for them, Mr. Speaker, it gives me peace. Whether big or whether small, the effort is worthwhile. I know sometimes that things don't happen as quickly as you might hope, but this is the nature of life. This project stands a clear example of our perseverance. The government's commitments to housing will continue, whether for repairs, completion, or work started, or full construction of the homes. And so I say to every resident in the Castle Bruce constituency, your time will come. Your time will come. Prime Minister Skerrit is your biggest champion. The love, admiration, care, and respect he holds for the residents of the Castle Bruce constituency have been demonstrated time and again. And as long as he's Prime Minister, you can be confident that all will be well. This is why he remains committed for the long haul. And while we're on this point, Mr. Speaker, while we're on this point of Prime Minister Skerrit being there for the long haul, I want to say a clear and direct message to our reporters from the media houses, both locally and regionally. Stop asking Prime Minister Skerrit when he will demit office. Stop it. Prime Minister Skerrit will step down when Prime Minister Skerrit decides the time is right. Until then, he has work to do. And we fully support him on that mission. We fully support him on that mission. Thank you, Prime Minister Skerrit, for all you have done and continue to do for the wonderful people of the Castle Bruce constituency. And to my colleague, Minister of Finance, if for any reason within an extension of this facility, let's return to this honorable house post haste. Because once this project is started, I want smooth sailing. We can already see 70 million, and some we get in. And some we get in. Not all. IFS. Not all. To all the residents and potential beneficiaries of this project from Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, and Petit-Soufrière, I say thank you for your patience and for the positive attitude you displayed throughout the waiting period. Your understanding and resilience have not gone unnoticed. Many thanks must be extended to the Honorable Minister of Housing, Honorable Minister Skerrit, for strong and focused leadership, the Parliamentary Representative, Octavia Alfred, who I'm sure is quite pleased that this project is nearing the actual construction stage. Former Permanent Secretary to the Ministry, Dr. Kira Paul, for her devotion to the project and for her patience with me. I used to call PS so often on that project. At one point, I became a member of the committee. I didn't know how I ended up there, but she just started inviting me to the meetings because I was at PS every time. And the new Permanent Secretary, Mr. Sevre, he wasted no time. He picked up this vital project and ran with it, and he keeps me in the loop as well, and I truly appreciate that. I must also recognize the staff of the ministry, Nichols, Shanks Esprit, Dr. Genora Joseph, Gregory Vier, Kimberly Allen, and Lolita Raffle from the Housing Recovery Program, Chenny Laville and staff of Corisav, Josiah Benoit of True Blossom Essentials, the members of the Relocation Committee, and of course, Dennis Edwards and her team, because no money, no love. And of course, we must acknowledge the technical and financial support provided by our development partners who continue to stand with Dominica as we build a safer and more resilient future. Mr. Speaker, in these few words, I wish to give my full support to the motion borrowing $69,940,000 from the IDA to begin the first phase of the relocation of Campbell, Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, and Petit-Soufrière. In closing, Mr. Speaker, I'd just like to borrow a line from the immediate past Deputy Political Leader of the United Workers' Party, the opposition Senator, Honorable Delbert R. Paris. The future of Dominica is bright. This statement leaves no doubt that the Roosevelt-Skerrit-led administration is indeed steering Dominica in the right direction. Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. And I know the people of Good Hope, Saint-Sauveur, Petit-Soufrière will remember what Senator Laurie Victor and Senator Delbert Paris said about the housing project that we're going to do for them in Castle Bruce. And they're saying, you said to them, to stay in Petit-Soufrière, in the vulnerable community, and whether landslide or whether rain, whatever happened to you, happened to you. That is what you all said to the people. And I want it to remain in the minds of the Castle Bruce people, the entire Castle Bruce constituency, that the UWP opposition said, do not build homes for them. Do not build homes for them. But God is good. God is good. The people of the Castle Bruce constituency, there are some soldiers in the Dominica Labour Party government. And that will ensure, and they will ensure, that the Dominica Labour Party will keep winning the constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're coming back after lunch, you'll get that.
Yes, Honorable Dr. Vincent Nelson, you are recognized. You may proceed.
I think, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know Honorable Charles will thank me for that because I think he will do better after he has nourished himself adequately. Mr. Speaker, I just want to make, according to one of my former colleagues, a brief intervention brief intervention. I think the speakers before me, the two acting PAL reps of, I'm sorry, the former PAL rep of Maho and the Maho constituency, as Minister of National Security, Senator Blackmore, of course, Senator Ostel Lockhart. And I think they have acquitted themselves masterfully. And I would say the past is the past, but the future is the future. And it's bright with flavor. So, Mr. Speaker, but Mr. Speaker, I just want to, I don't think I need to say more about the importance of this load. I think we have heard enough from the Minister of Housing in her very, very insightful, you said, informative presentation. She gave us some figures and facts that are very important to consider. Very, very important. Thank you for putting that in the record of the House. I think that is something that needs to be shared, distributed, so people are reminded of the investments that we've made over the last several years in housing development in Dominica. And of course, the colleagues before me have spoken to the importance of this. But I just wanted to put sort of a different spin on things. And I will say something that will make those on my side a little nervous at first. I really wish we didn't have to come to this house to take a loan for this. This is money that should be coming from the Global Climate Fund. So you relax now, you can breathe. My point is, climate change is the reason why we're here. Climate change is the reason why we're here. The impact of climate change is the reason why we're here. The last time I remember doing an exercise, and FSU, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously you cannot stand and do it, although there's some new precedent in the House, perhaps you can have a seat. And I guess with the impact of climate change, remember we did the exercise, and we've seen that our debt stock, almost 50% of the debt stock, is to respond to the impact of climate change. And that is what we're doing here again. I recall, and Senator Lockhart, I remember the work you did, you and Honorable Alfred, after the passage of that event in 2022. It was frightening. I spent a lot of time there, not only for the politics of it, but I spent time there with, at the time with Esprit, Nicholas Esprit Shanks. He was the one responsible to mobilize the clearing of the area, man. This was almost, it looked impossible. I remember Chris Walter and his team up there spending, days and just kept working late in the night trying to clear the site. So it is well deserving, and I'm very happy that some people can be given peace of mind. But the fact that we have to come to the Parliament to borrow, to respond to the impact of climate change should invigorate us to continue on our fight for climate justice. About 2 weeks ago, I was in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I spoke as the outgoing chair of COFCOR, the Caribbean Foreign and Community Relations Committee. And I made the point that no matter what happens in the world, no matter who is running any major capital in the world, small island developing states must continue to make the case for climate justice. We have to hold the developed countries responsible for the impact of climate change. And we having to come to the Parliament to take $226 million to build the East Road, to build climate resilience, to get rid of the vulnerabilities that we have traversing from Bois Diab all the way to Hatton Garden. That is what we try and, that is what have caused us to indebted ourselves so much. And now with over $116 million from Loubier to Bagatelle. So far, that is just part of the cost. That is just part of the cost. Because I take it easy in a minute talking. I don't have no acting power rep, although I heard there are a couple in Granby. But, Mr. Speaker, the point is we are making these investments to get rid of vulnerabilities. We are trying to get rid of vulnerabilities by building bridges, getting rid of dangerous corners, and we know the road failures that from especially entering Pichelin, member for the Pidit-Savon constituency. Dangerous situations. We have had to extend our borrowing. So when we talk about debt to GDP, and I really wish said it out, Paris was in there. Because when you talk about debt to GDP ratio, we need to understand what is happening there. You need to understand how we got there. And I'm very happy that the Prime Minister, the former Minister of Finance, was able to explain to us how we were doing prior to the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, with our debt to GDP ratio being one of the lowest in the Eastern Caribbean at the time, about 72%. But over the years, successive disasters have forced us to increase our indebtedness, and our pursuit to climate resilience has been a very expensive undertaking. But one thing, rest assured, the next event will be better positioned. We will be in a better place. More of our people will be at peace, knowing that the damage will not be as expansive, will not be as we saw after the passage of Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria. That is what we are investing in. So to be bothered about the debt to GDP ratio, so let's go to the debt to GDP ratio. And that's why I wanted to speak, because I felt it was important to make a couple points. One, the fact that the International Development Association, they like to call it IDA, the fact that IDA, a part of the World Bank Group, is able to extend a loan to Dominica. It says that Dominica is fiscally prudent, Dominica is fiscally responsible, Dominica can manage funds, and Dominica can account for funds. That's the first point I want to make. World Bank is not going to give you their funds if you do not tick all the boxes. And trust me, for the World Bank, there are many, many, many boxes to tick. And for us to meet the requirements so that we can continue to access World Bank funds. FS, thank you very much. Minister of Finance, thank you very much. Because we have demonstrated to them that we are responsible. But the second point I wish to make with regards to World Bank borrowings, I encourage UFS and Minister of Finance to take all the IDA loan that you can. Don't worry, people. And poor Senator Paris, I like the guy, I think he makes some good points, and he has some ability that I admire, I must say. And he's courageous. However, he needs to hang out with me a little more. Because there are a few things that I would love to teach him. Because I hate to hear him, exposing, the fact that he doesn't know. IDA funds are for countries, not only that qualify, as I said, for point one, we qualify because we're responsible, we have demonstrated our ability to account and to be transparent with World Bank funds. But the fact that there are 74 countries that qualify for IDA funds to date. These countries are what are referred to as the lower bracket income countries. From the low income to the middle income, where Dominica finds itself. But Dominica is in a peculiar place. And I'll tell you why I tell FS take all the IDA she can get. Dominica, I just wish you would take it for the transmission line to the north, but that's another conversation. But the fact is, IDA countries are countries that sit within that area. Dominica, our per capita income last year was about $6,833 per person. Yeah, per person. US dollars, thank you, US dollars. And that is $450 increase over 2023, because we were 8,920. in 2023. So we've moved. Now, the fact that we have moved, that means things are getting better in Dominica. By international standards, by World Bank standards and matrices and everything you can talk about. We have seen some movement in our GDP per capita. Now, Dominica is doing so well with investment in the international airport, the marina, expanding air access with more seats coming into Dominica, growing the tourism sector. We just saw the signing of $5 million plus for activities to boost agriculture, and that is on top of the over 100 million or so that we have spent to date since the passage of Hurricane Maria. And I'm talking as this financed through the World Bank program. That is not the total investments in agriculture, but those related to the World Bank. So have we seen all of this expansion of the economy? It means, Senator Paris, wherever you are, that when you talk about debt to GDP, as I told the one before you, and that was the leader of the opposition at the time from Marigot, that there was, well, that is Honorable Linton at the time, that when you talk about debt to GDP ratio, anytime you have a ratio, everybody there will do a little math in school. You maybe don't do calculus, but you do a little basic math. You have denominator and numerator. So if the numerator grow, even if the denominator stays the same way, the number will go down, the ratio will go down. So what we will see is that without getting rid of the debt stock, we can reduce our debt to GDP ratio, because what we will be doing is that, in fact, we will be getting better. No, you want it decrease. Your debt has to be lower because you want a smaller number. What you're trying to get is about 60. What we are now is much higher than 60. So as the economy grows, we expand the activities, we'll be better off. We'll be better off. So we have to be able to ensure that we keep growing the economy. And the things that we're doing are to ensure that we grow the economy. And when you build in resilience, it means that you have lesser impact from natural events. So if you have a bridge like the bridge in Roseau that we built prior to Hurricane Maria, when the hurricane comes, what happened to the bridge? Nothing. So that's the money you don't have to spend again. So what we're doing is building now in a manner that will eliminate the need to rebuild. Because we're bringing in the whole concept of resilience in everything we're doing. So my brother, don't worry yourself. You know, as they say, let not your heart be troubled. We are building a Dominica to ensure that we have the ability to do those things. And I am very happy that we come into Parliament today to ensure that we can take some of the steps necessary to bring comfort to the people in Saint-Sauveur, Petit-Soufrière, Good Hope, Toronto, Deepa, some in Castle Bruce, especially the people of Campbell. I remember, boy, I really in this thing for a long time. I think my long haul retreat hostel. You know, I remember the passage of Hurricane, was it Dean? I remember when we had that situation in Campbell. Earl Williams was the leader of the opposition at the time. So that was the early 2000s, somewhere there. And I remember that. And he was beating the race with me to reach Campbell first. But the road was so bad, I reached first. I mean, I was out, you know. Me that day, we send drive from. Yeah, and imagine now I representing Granby. Boy, so since that time, I remember the nervousness that every time there was a weather-related event, the problem it would cause for the people of Campbell. And I'm very happy that my good friend and neighbor, Honorable Blackmore, has done a lot of advocacy, and now Member of Parliament for the Mao constituency, Honorable Laville, continue to raise a concern for the relocation of the people from Campbell. And I have met a few of them who keep reminding me of that and keep asking when are we going to relocate them. And I'm very, very happy that we are taking one of the most important steps to get financing to ensure that they can be relocated very soon. And I look forward to that project being completed so that, again, the people of Campbell can have some peace of mind. Mr. Speaker, I think that is the contribution that I wish to make, but I just want to say in closing that we in Dominica, our small island developing states, we need to continue making our voices be heard. And I know sometimes, people get worried every time, oh, those ministers traveling, Parep not there, and, people have to. We have to go out there, advocate, make the case. We were in China last week, and I was very happy we were in China because now the Chinese are stepping up their efforts to ensure that we can do the North Road. That is another important, very important piece of infrastructure. And that will build the resilience, but also complement the international airport and the marina. So we're going to build a road that will take you from the international airport to the marina. 2 new pieces of infrastructure that can help to transform Dominica. But if you're not there, people don't worry for you. You can't send a letter or an email, that doesn't work. You have to go face to face and meet, engage, and importantly, be counted, especially in this environment. You have to be counted. You cannot be absent and tell somebody to pass a message for you. C'est pas comme ça. It doesn't work like that. I waited for you, Mr. Speaker, for the record.
For the record, I was asking you to interpret, translate.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have to ensure that Dominica's case is made. And that resilient story that we've been building, we cannot relent. CREED has done its work. We have transformed that unit. But the Dominica story of resilience should never be lost. Because there's no other country, no other island state that has lost 94% of its GDP and then 226% of its GDP within such short succession in about 2 years. And yet today, look at us, look around. You don't even see any signs. We're able to restore power before Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico grid always bashing up. Up to today, Puerto Rico has not yet fully recovered from the impact of, it wasn't Maria, it was the other one? It was Maria too? Okay, from Hurricane Maria. The same time, just a few hours difference. And today, they're yet to fully recover. But what we are doing in Dominica, we are building a geothermal plant. We are building the most resilient transmission lines. All we're asking, FS Walikumo. We're building the first phase. The first phase. And I will add, Mr. Speaker, and I know you like those things, you're a science man, you're an engineer, you like those things. We have now commissioned our battery energy storage system in Domlec, integrated. And I was advised last week that even if we just turn it on through the testing phase, we're able to save Domlec a major blackout because the battery system was able to run to provide Domlec with power for about half an hour before they were able to allow them to at least rectify the problem that they had with one of their generators. And that is the investment we've made. Yeah. And that is resilience. So one thing that I agree with Senator Paris on, this should be grant money. But where is the grant? We've gone all over the world looking for it, And trust me, I mean, Macabos come where, but I can negotiate, brother. I can make a case. When I go out there, boy, okay, I withdraw. But I can't say that in English. I want to give you another one. I can't say that in English. Another partner used to say, there was a minister that used to say, Mopa Vini Live, I say, Bugla, I come here in my own accord to speak for myself and my country. I didn't just come with the others. So whether or not people agree with me, and I remember my days at the OAS, sometimes it's just us alone, especially when we're defending our friends, when we're defending Venezuela. Sometimes it's us, maybe Nicaragua, and if St. Vincent maybe have the courage to speak, they will speak. But sometimes it's us alone, and we're fighting them. So when we go out to represent, we represent. But we have to continue to make the case for climate justice. So Minister of the Environment, when you go out and you send your staff out, they shouldn't run and hide because there is a new sheriff in town in Washington. Because there's been a change of administration that said they don't want to hear about climate change. We're not going to bother them. We'll not go to them and ask them to give me a little help because climate change. But when we go to the international forum, we cannot relent because we're afraid that we may offend somebody. We have to continue to make the case, but at the same time, we need to be able to show the world what we've been able to do for ourselves. How we've been able to take our CBI money and take us so far. And to date, we're saying now that we need to take advantage of the funds from the World Bank, because there will come a time when we will not qualify for it. That was the point I needed to make. Because we are already so high. We almost upper middle income. When you get there, you graduate. That's what they call it. You graduate. You will hear leaders making that case, especially Barbados, the Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda. They've graduated. So they do not qualify for idle funds. And the importance for those listening, idle funds is the cheapest rate that you can get of borrowing that you can get anywhere. Anything other than that is free money. 0.75% interest plus a grace period, 10 years. Gives you the breathing space to put your house in order, do what you have to do, and prepare to repay that loan so that future generations will not be burdened by your action, because we have enough time to prepare. But the fundamental role of the state is to ensure that it can provide for the citizens of its state. And we are utilizing every means that we find to ensure that we can fulfill our obligations, especially to those who have been affected by natural events, hurricanes, storms, earthquakes, and any of the like. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy to give my support to the resolution before us to approve a loan of $69,930,000 for the purpose of ensuring the relocation of the residents of Campbell, and they will be moving to Wana. Those in Petite Savanne and Petite Soufriere, my secretary's family live there. Those people in Dipa, Toronto, Mopo, and other areas of Castlebrose who will benefit from this, as well as the other activities which will be carried out. I didn't speak to the marketing, but I'm very excited about that, very excited, and I don't need to say why. I think this is a very progressive step, and I do hope that we will use it not just judiciously, but to ensure that we have maximum impact. Maximum impact. I just hope it's, we don't just shoot, but we have to tag it and ensure that we can bring people to our shores and to ensure that more money can circulate in our economy, increase stay-over visitors, and ensure that we can build a more robust economy around tourism and, of course, complementing the activities of agriculture or the activities that our people are engaging to earn a living. Especially, of course, my good friend from Granby will be very happy. More tourists for him with his nice new bus. you know, he can, and yeah, and that, you know, the people offering Airbnb, that, you know, Airbnb is a word that I find difficult for most of us to say, just like Kempinski. You realize that? You don't notice that? Okay, but Mr. Speaker, it, it will be an opportunity for for our people to really earn a living and to see a shift in the economy as we grow the tourism sector. So I'm very, very happy that we've come to the Parliament to take those measures, and I hope that, in fact, they will be implemented as planned with the efficiency and the accountability that they require. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Charles.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to give a contribution on this resolution. Before I give or ask for permission to refer to some notes time to time.
Permission granted.
Mr. Speaker, before I go to the resolution, as a member of Parliament elected for Marigot, I don't like to mislead people. When I debate, you'll know if I for the bill or I against the bill. So Mr. Blackmore will have to call division to see where I voted. So Mr. Speaker, as Ms. Honorable Henderson said, I'll have a better insight and a better way to deliver this debate. At 19 years, I went for a loan, and all of us know the loan process. You have to go, if you're credible or not, you have to go for all your credit reports. And if the financial institution did not qualify you, you cannot get that loan. Now with the idea, when it comes to climate changes that is taking place, I don't blame them to give us money, because those international countries are the ones who created the climate changes. So they have to find ways to give back. So technically, them World Bank giving us loan is a cry for the lower, or we say the third world countries, after the international countries created the problem, they have to find a way to fix it. So now we come in here, basically as I can see, this is just a budget support because of climate changes, because from since Erica, when I dive down the wash, Glogome, the road it, half, one way lane, and I see the government is, because I saw the road kind of a hole up. So I realized we dingling in some fund, something missing. Because I wanted to go up for it to reach Marigot, because there's some roads, two budgets ago, just dwindling in the air there, it not reaching Marigot. It just not reaching Marigot. But it will reach eventually. But I want bells to fix, so it can reach Marigot. So the other minister that watching across the road, I wanted to reach Marigot. But for it to reach Marigot, we have Cassie Bruce. Because Marigot is very resilient when it comes to climate. For one, I know. It's very resilient, but sometimes we cannot take too much. But this loan, World Bank say we qualify. I know it have plenty of accountants and the FS and the World Bank say we qualify. So if World Bank, one of the most credible institutions, said we qualify, why not take the loan to do a budget support? As you can see, our Honorable Minister of Tourism did an excellent job during Carnival to push my cousin, to push the influx of the diaspora and foreigners into to boost the tourism and the economical value. So we have to step in front. You know, because I'm in the opposition and I support something that is good to move the country, they will say they take me. I don't know take me where, but I want to take the country to a next level to work with the government to move this country a way forward. It's simple. We have bills to pay. IDA giving us loan, we qualify, we take it to pay our bills. And all other constituency, I know maybe they are a little more vulnerable than Marigot. Everybody advocating for the constituency. I will advocate, but I see Cassibus needed more. Good Hope, I know those places. They needed more. But eventually the 2 roads that dwindling will reach Marigot. It will reach. It will reach. Eventually it will reach. Because now it have some global war taking place. It have tariff war, physical war taking place. It haven't reached our shores as yet, but it's going to reach. By the hook or the crook, it's going to reach. I saw it already. Last night I went on, what do you call him, the site, Team One Shen, or She, whatever. She. What you used to buy for $10, it's going to 20. Because the manufacturers are not waiting for Trump and China to put it on, They put it already. So it's going to dwindle down. So all close to all corned beef going to be expensive. Less barrel going to come down here. Because they're getting the increase over there too. So we have to jump in front. Because we have the public sector. We have Cassie Bruce. We have Discover Dominica to push. And look how our dear minister is standing. We have to protect our food security. And to do this, we need money. And more money. But with the food security, it have a lot of small business owners, manufacturers. We need those small manufacturers to come bigger. And we need the small, especially Honorable Pinard can help them, Honorable Grant. We can all light up Londonderry. So the school kids and them, we can have some more Addison James to get some more gold medal to push the country out there. So now, this loan is not really an next loan again. No, it's not a next loan again. We need to move this country. It's not just a next loan again. I know the World Bank knows how much loan we have. I know the World Bank knows how much loan we have. He know, or the World Bank know, if we're credible or not. So if the World Bank want to give us money and we cannot pay back, but it's not making sense. The World Bank giving loans to credible people. And I think the World Bank, and I know the World Bank know better than me. So now this loan, and the next loan not coming after, I know NBD. If NBD want to sing the very important bank and give it to the government, NBD know the government is capable. Well, this loan that's going to be passed in the House to support development in Dominica, because some people say, why road maintenance? Why this? Why a next loan? Why everything? But why not? Why not a next loan to move the country to a next level? And yes, the government of the day happened to be the Labour Party government. Not because PS Ansem of Agriculture, Ryan Ansem, his team gone home. That doesn't mean he shouldn't watch the NBA finals because his team not there. He liked this sport. So you have to support this sport. Not because I not support the Labour Party, I cannot support a loan that's going to move the country. Because it's not about party. Labour Party that there, okay? I don't represent no party. I represent the people. And it's the people interests I come and represent here. So the loan, rest assured, the loan is okay. We qualify. World Bank qualifiers so that we know we can move the country with this loan for unforeseen, the unforeseen climate change. I know you cannot see climate, but we don't know what hurricane season is going to bring. So now we need to put party politics aside and think about the country. It have time for politics. Everybody playing their politics. But we need to pause a while, man. Give it a break. Give it a break and let's move our country. Let's move our country, please, and give this a break. And not because Tony talk or they take him, not because Delbert talk or he don't vote, he shouldn't vote, not because I giving especially young businessmen and the young entrepreneurs careful with those retired people that stick in their old ways. We have to stand your ground and vote for what is right. It's a simple thing. It's simple as that, you know. It's simple as that, you know. And stand by your ground, you vote for it, you vote for it. Simple as that. And the thing is that it have a, what do I say, forward ever, backward never. But we have to go forward, it's forward we want to go. It's forward to go. It's forward we have to go. Not want to, we have to go forward. Not stick in our old politics and stick in our old ways about, oh, if it's not you, nobody else cannot do it. You're not there. Labour Party are there. Let us help the Labour Party move the country, simple as that. Yes, not everything we're going to agree what they're doing. But I didn't come here to fight with nobody. I come to help them move the country. So if I have to get a little bashing and say they take me and voting for this, I voted on principle. Principle, simple. Simple as that. Vote for the bill for forward movement. We're not moving back because you cannot predict weather and climate. Although mankind is playing with it, you cannot predict it. The Honorable Minister of Environment, he knows that. Day before, it's not rain is falling. It's raining. Never in my life I heard Kalibishi flooded. You never know where we're going to flood next. Oh no, the Honorable, she's not there. Lucky Ajovi is looking for help. She have to pay Bobcat. She have to pay this. This is an unforeseen incident again. Climate change again. So we have to take it on. Margaret could be next. You never know where. So now we have to get rid of and take care of what is already Cassie Bruce, Petit Savant, deal with them because you never know. It's not stopping, you know. It's going to continue. Natural disasters is getting more dangerous, bigger. So now we have to take ahead, watch ahead, stop sticking the old ways. And because it's not you, I don't support in it. Don't support the government because they'll say, yeah, take you. No, we're not in that. I will take it, bro, so. But I voted for something to help move my village, you know. My village want to get help, you know. Because the Honorable Minister of Public Works passing through. So you see when the road's bad, you see the lighting, he will set it up. I know when I call and I message him, he'll take 2 days to answer, but he'll answer. And he tell me, yeah, I'm working on it because he go and look on it and he's working on it. Because it's so I want to move my country, you know. He's message him and tell him, fix that for me, please. He's messaging Minister of Finance, I say, we need that done, you know. His message, Honorable Blackman, say, hey, the police station, have need this. It's so I want to move country. I don't want to do, oh, I'm not in Blackmore business. No, I'm not in that. I want to talk to Blackmore. I want him to, Honorable, sorry. I want him to help. I want the Honorable Minister of Agriculture to fix Captain Bruce. It's just swinging around in the air there. Since last budget, I wanted to fix it. So now we have other things to fix. But as he said, come in. But let's move forward. Get this idea money that you already qualified for and fix what we have to fix because it have more coming. But we can never stop fixing things. Because climate, you cannot see what climate is going to give you. So let's move forward. Get this done and move the country. Simple as that. I thank you.
Honorable Defoe. Take it easy. Honorable Defoe, you may proceed. Yes, permission granted. Honorable Defoe have been on his feet several times, so let's allow him to speak.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to give my full support to the resolution presented by the Minister of Finance for credit facility from the IDA and for the specific reason to build climate resilient housing for the people of Campbell and Petit Soufriere. The purpose why I rise, Honorable Speaker, is because I represent the Petit Savan constituency. And if all my memories serve me right, the Petit Savan constituency is a constituency that have benefited tremendously from such initiative. So we have to really stand collectively on their behalf and be grateful for orders that will follow through. In recent memories, we know in 2015, the tropical storm Erika caused the massive relocation of 2 communities within that constituency, and that is sort of unprecedented, Honorable Speaker. We had the entire Petit Savan constituency relocated to the Bellevue-Chopin area, Petit Savan as we know it now, and also we had the entire Dubic constituency, Dubic residents move to in center in Grand Bay. And both intervention at a tremendous cost. The Honorable Minister of Housing earlier gave the cost of relocation of the Petit Savan residents to Bellevue-Chopin, approximately $29 million. And I would believe, it would be in the tens of millions also for the move of the Dubic residents. But furthermore, for the Dubic residents, the first intervention, Honorable Speaker, we saw the building of the Petro Casas. But this Labour government felt, as time has modernized and gone on, at the time the intervention was meaningful and welcome, but we felt in modernization and with new climate resilient mission that we are on, that we could do even better for them. Any other government in another place would say, well, these people have already received a home, leave them in their business. But we say no. So we have put down 54 units we had for the residents from Dubic. And we tell you, no, we're going to do much better than that for you. And this government have decided, out of the 86, Honorable Blackmore mentioned, the units, well, with some additional more that were done, so it's more than 86, we're in the 90s in this entire housing complex in Center. More than 50% are going to the residents of Dubic who previously held Petro Casas, and some additional single-parent persons will receive additional housing. So I felt I had to stand and to give my support, because now is the time for another community to benefit. The people of Campbell, for a long time, even maybe preceding Hurricane Maria, the people of Petit Soufriere, Saint-Sauveur, Good Hope, very recently, they deserve their chance. And the senator from Laurie said, Kulibistri, but I do not believe this government, knowing its track record, will ignore and forget Kulibistri. And I am sure within my time within this government, I think I have quite a number of services to give. I will see Kulibistri be addressed, including other communities in Dominica. And even prior to the intervention, there was a previous one years before Petit Savan and Dubic, which is even Bellevue-Chopin, Honorable, yes, even Bellevue-Chopin, where we had a landslide, and the first housing project was built in Bellevue to just take off people who were living close to the edge, vulnerable to landslide. So if you act collectively, all of just to move people from vulnerable areas, all because of extreme weather event. So I just wanted to say that to support the Honorable Prime Minister's and the member for Vieca's point that a lot of government borrowing to date, over 50% of the debt that we speak of, is to respond to these natural events, none of us know the hour. So as they come, you have to deal with it. And God bless that perhaps we can still qualify for the NDA, as the honorable member from Granby said, and his advice to the FS, take as much as we can now, because we do not know, because the way in which Dominica is developing, I foresee maybe in the next few years that we cannot qualify for IDA, as has happened to some of our neighbor sister islands, Antigua, St. Kitts, Barbados, because I have been, as a civil servant, in many projects that include these countries, and I was so shocked to learn that these countries cannot qualify because they have graduated. But graduation is not a bad thing, Mr. Speaker. Graduation is a good thing. For all of us who attend school would know that, I mean, graduation is one of the best things you look forward to. But I also heard so I have made this point and giving gratitude for what we have received and that we want to see it for others. But I heard some points from the other side and astuteness and analysis. Mr. Speaker, I know your history, science, mathematics too. I love science, and some of us were there. So we love figures and we understand them quite well. And some of us have very good knowledge and use of statistical tools and analysis and so on. And when I was in university, not long ago doing masters, my professor accidentally gave me some wrong data to do a major assignment. I spent all night using all manner of statistical tools Excel has to offer and other types. And I just cannot seem to come up with an answer that makes sense based on the context of the assignment. I didn't sleep at all. So next day I went to her. She's my very good friend, a very senior professor in the region. And I tell her, but I don't understand. That doesn't make no kind of sense. So she looked at it and she said, oh my God, she apologized, Julian. This is the wrong data after spending all night. But she told me, Julian, you know something? You're a smart boy. I said, but what do you mean, Professor? He said, Julian, no matter how much good we are in science and numbers and analysis, when something does not make sense and you look at it, common sense alone should tell you that these figures did not make sense. And I say, what? After all that hard work, all night, trying to make numbers make sense, but just to realize that I knew myself, I knew that doesn't make sense. But I mean, it's an assignment, and I have the tools and things. She told me, Julian, common sense is the number one sense, no matter how much we are scientists. If you look at something and it does not make sense, then it does not make sense. So I will say one thing to dispel all the analysis and statistical and so on. So the second part, Mr. Speaker, is as parliamentary representative, I mean, you are privy to a lot of things, and many of which are confidential. Constituents, those who are highly qualified and astute, and those who are working very hard, and some of them on the any cleanup and beautification crew, and so on, and those doing otherwise. And I have, over time, come to realize a fair amount in the bracket of astute and high academic credentials. Their financial problems compared to the other cadre of people, there's a great indifference, a variance, I would just say. They are usually the one mostly in debt, cannot survive. And I'm wondering to myself, but I mean, how come you're so smart and have all this, but you accumulate all this bad debt? And others who are working on the minimum line can build homes piece by piece. After 10 years, they have 3-4 bedrooms, and they have everything, all kind of couch in their house by little pieces. So I just got to say that, it is not always, academics have to do with good, sound financial management. And then the whole discussion with the old GDP, Japan, maybe 4th largest economy in the world, 4th or 5th now, 236% debt to GDP ratio. Now see where we're trying to get. We're trying to get to 60. We're at 90-something percent. Japan, we all know, and after the United States had the largest aid donor budget, 225 this year. And they have one of the largest aid budget, after the United States. I said, but how that a country can be giving so much to people, so well developed, so well known to be a developed country? The reason is, and has clearly articulated by other members on this side, is that your ability to pay, and I'm not going to stress on that so much because it has been well done. Your ability to pay, your credibility is of paramount. the World Bank, other institutions, even our own indigenous bank. I will not go into it because there's another resolution. People will give, because people want their money back. People have those that they are responsible for, shareholders, and then they want to ensure these shareholders will hold them accountable. So the fact that they have the utmost respect, they trust your system, they have done their in-depth situation analysis of just not now, but 20 years, 30 years, because you can see the timeline of these loans, that they are confident that we have the ability to pay. I love to speak, Mr. Speaker, but I have promised myself sitting there I will be very brief. And with these few words, I once again support the resolution for a credit facility borrowing from the IDA, and I am fully confident that this money will put into good use. And then perhaps we can come again for the second term to ensure that the senator who spoke on behalf of the parliamentary representative from Castle Bruce can get all of which, because we understand this is phase one, and we have other people around Dominica. Myself too, because when I come out from there, I have to answer to my people. They will say, but Pal Rep, we see money is being taken to build homes, but there is a site earmarked, Honorable Minister, the parliamentary for Roseau. There is a site earmarked in Bagatelle for a few years now. I tell them, take your time. We're closing up on the Centre Grand Bay. We're closing up on a few other areas, and your time will come. So I ask them for their patience, that the site, which is earmarked already for housing development in Bagatelle, will come. With these few words, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to support the resolution.
You have to be recognized by the chair, but yes, you may proceed.
I got to recognize for the credit facility of over 69 million EC dollars. And I had to rise, Mr. Speaker, when I heard Discover Dominica Authority is getting a large chunk of that money to continue marketing Dominica. As you know, Mr. Speaker, Dominica is advancing on the international stage as a premier destination, and that is through the hard efforts of this government over the years to transform the economy, the investments we have made in increasing access to the destination. First, we moved from having no night landing to night landing, the extension we did at the airport, which allowed us to welcome a second direct flight from the United States on United Airlines. I'm not even talking about the direct flight on American Airlines. I'm talking about the investment we had to make over, I think, $20-something million to extend that runway so we could receive larger aircrafts. And sometimes we underestimate the amount of money the government has to spend to increase access to the destination. So I wanted to make that point, that we have done a lot to ensure that more people can come to Dominica. And we must not fool ourselves. Even if we are brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, and we say we are one Caribbean and one OECS, it's a very competitive market. And most people do not like to overnight or spend hours waiting in an airport to catch another flight. And most people don't even like to go on smaller aircrafts. And so it's very important that as a destination, we can increase direct flights to Dominica. And so as we prepare for the grand opening of our international airport in 2027, we have to keep the momentum, Mr. Speaker. And that is why those funds are coming handy for us to continue our niche marketing. We are very careful, Mr. Speaker, so I can give the FS and the Minister of Finance the confidence. Those monies will be well spent in key source markets. We are promoting Dominica for diving, wellness, agro-tourism. So we are very focused marketing for this destination. As you have seen, Mr. Speaker, over the few months, we have done some road shows in critical cities like New Jersey. We'll be going to Colorado, California, where there is a demand where there is an increased interest in Dominica, Mr. Speaker, to continue to market the diverse and unique products that we have in Dominica, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I really want to thank the Minister of Finance and his team for their hard work. It is because of our fiscal responsibility that we're even able to contract a loan of that size, Mr. Speaker. So I want to commend this government for its hard work in ensuring that Dominica remains a fiscally prudent managed economy, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I really wanted just to make that point until I heard Mr. Delbert Paris, Mr. Speaker, Senator Paris. I know he walked out again, Mr. Speaker. I don't know how, people being paid to be in the house feel it's okay to just walk out at any time, Mr. Speaker, when we're dealing with serious business, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, as an aspiring leader, young leader of the United Workers' Party, Mr. Speaker, I was very disturbed when I heard his comment. Well, he's still an aspiring leader. Whether he was fired or he resigned, I don't know. He's an aspiring leader. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure where he was after Hurricane Maria. I'm not sure if he had the comfort of his house. But I know where I was, because I lost over 16 people, Mr. Speaker. And even if my roof was damaged, I had to find myself at the homes of the families where most of the homes were washed away by the ravine in Port Michel, in Supuli, Mr. Speaker. And I lost some families in Scott's Head, Mr. Speaker. Housing should be financed by grant funding only because you don't have commercial returns, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, he's equalizing the life and comfort of the dignity of the people of Dominica to profits, Mr. Speaker. Very reckless statement by an aspiring leader and a senator in this house to equate the lives and livelihoods of people, the people of Petit Soufrière, the people of Good Hope. I drove up there after the trough system, Mr. Speaker, and I was in total shock. The devastation that occurred in that part of the area. I was there enjoying myself at Fet La Pointe, and destruction on the other side of the country. We did not start this war of climate change, but we are on the front line, and we have to protect our citizens. And it doesn't matter what it takes, Mr. Speaker. This Dominica Labour Party, who has always had the back of Dominicans, will find the money to ensure that we provide relief, especially for the families impacted by disasters caused by climate change. So we should never come here to play politics and to play games with the lives of the people of this country. And that is why the Dominica Labour Party will always be the best choice for Dominica, because we are the only party who truly care for the people of this country, and we will always put people first and certainly above profits. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable McIntyre.
Mr. Speaker, I'm fully aware of the time, and most of us might be hypoglycemic by now, so I won't take much of your time and this Honorable House's time. However, let me just draw it to the attention of the House and the listening public that debt financing is nothing new, and we must appreciate that fact. And it's for development purposes. So obviously there's the vision that all these development activities that are taking place will deal with this debt financing which is we have a 10-year grace period. So we must appreciate the fact that it is nothing new, debt financing for development. And it's totally acceptable. It's something other islands do, other countries do. It's nothing new that we're doing here. So when some of the others on the other side want to put it like it's something new and so dramatic, no. It's happened before, and it's happening now, and it's nothing to panic about. It's a well-planned debt sustainability program that we have, which the Prime Minister said that we did late here in this Parliament. So I just want to get that point clear. And the report that the Senator Laura is referring to in terms of the statistics and so, let me just make it abundantly clear also that the same IMF Article 4 report that came out, it also said that we had GDP growth by 3.5% in 2024. And obviously that's reported to increase in tourism numbers, which was 32% above the pre-pandemic levels, as well as all our investments in agriculture and in the small business and the other sectors, the productive sector, so to speak. That very same report, Mr. Speaker, also said that the primary deficit narrowed by 2% of GDP from 2023 to 2024. And also that very same report also projected to move into a surplus by 2024-2025. So we're not just taking a loan, but I'm telling you the backdrop. I'm just trying to contextualize where we are, and that gives us the confidence that we can take such loans, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the public debt also fell from 112%, that's where we were before, of GDP. That is in 2020-21, because obviously we had the COVID-19, etc. And now it's below 100, it's 98%. So it just shows you how we've been making steady progress all along the way, which gives us the confidence that we can come here to this honorable house and take such a loan. Mr. Speaker, apart from that, the GDP growth projected is 3.5% over the next 3 years. So you have to put all of this into context, and our current account balance is expected to improve steadily to its normal by 2028. Let alone that, Mr. Speaker, the primary balance projected to strengthen gradually to 2% of GDP by 2030. Now, Mr. Speaker, you have to put all of that into context, as I was saying, in the sense that we're developing a modern economic infrastructure. So all our investments, whether it's in roads, whether it's in education, whether it's in health, whether it's in energy, whether it's in digitalization, housing, and we can go on and on and on. What it is going to do is rebuild critical fiscal buffers, which is what we're doing. That is why we have the confidence that we can come here, because granted, we do have a 10-year grace period to pay those loans, but we can come here and we can come here with confidence because we know all what we're putting in place now will definitely be able to, we can service these loans 10 years down the line. Let alone that, Mr. Speaker, there's also the financial resilience aspect of what this government is doing. So for instance, the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, we've actually increased our contribution to this, so this is all part of the financial resilience that is critical in terms that we'll have some climatic events. Apart from that, we have the Disaster Vulnerability Fund, which we also service from CBI funds. We have the parametric insurance, which the farmers are using through the credit unions. As a matter of fact, that is what came to Grenada's rescue, where they got 10 million out of that same parametric insurance fund, which we run for our credit unions here. And at the OECS meeting recently, they thought that was the best kept secret that Dominica had. But anyway, Grenada did benefit, and the other islands are going to go for it. All this we have to. Now, earlier, Senator Paris did mention about why don't we go to the GCF, etc. Mr. Speaker, I have a full 3 pages of all the GCF programs that we're having. If you permit me, I can just mention 1 or 2 quickly for you. So for instance, the Sustainable Energy Fund, that is 25 million. That's been approved already and been implemented. The National Adaptation Plan, that has also been approved, $2.9 million. The Economic Feasibility Green Eco-Industrial Park, 750,000 approved and being implemented. Phase 1 capacity development and institutional strengthening to support development and delivery of Dominica's GCF work program, approved for $848,000. The Phase 2, $990,000. Then we have also the Dominica Resilient Enhancement Project by 5Cs, $24 million. Development of the Resilient Integrated Coastal Margin, that's That's $40 million. So, Mr. Speaker, it's not just loans that we're depending on. We've also engaged these international agencies to get funding for many of our projects, which was mentioned earlier, but I just thought I'd clarify this for you as well. Putting all of this aside, Mr. Speaker, the resilience aspect of this loan, obviously, and we're discussing this loan a month or two before the hurricane season. Mr. Speaker, this is not the time for us to be questioning in terms of people's safety and their well-being before hurricane season. That is being very insensitive, I thought, and we should never let these things pass. This is being very insensitive before hurricane season to be questioning relocating people to a safer area where they can reside in peace and safety. If they are not safer, Mr. Speaker, if their livelihoods are not there, if they are not alive, there'll be no other children and grandchildren to look after. So this is where we start from, to protect people and stuff. But let alone from the home's point of view, you can see what this government has done in terms of roads and our resilience, in terms of health, our resilience in health, all over school. Earlier, they mentioned about training. I agree we have to train, but is it precisely why we are developing this technical and vocational education school at the Goodwill? That is what it's meant to address. And Mr. Speaker, ignorance is a poverty, because just last month, on the 24th of April, we graduated 18 candidates in the CVQ level 3. That is for, Mr. Speaker, that is for supervisors and foremen to apply CARICOM code of construction. And then we also graduated another 30 students, completed level 1 and level 2 programs under the Skills for Youth Employment. That's in electrical engineering, plumbing, commercial food production, garment production. So we've been training people, and that was done together with CDEMA, that is Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, as well as with Cantor. So the training part, yes, we've been doing it, and we will continue to do it. And then the bigger picture is the school that we're building. In terms of all these other resilience measures that I did mention to you. But Mr. Speaker, apart from that, this loan is also meant to even drive the economy further. So how are we going to do this? Obviously, the marketing funds that we have for the Discover Dominica Authority, just last week, we actually signed quite a few contracts, $5.25 million at the State House, which dealt with the Whitey Kubuli National Trail. That is all to develop our tourism product. Now, this is developing our tourism product goes on one hand, and then we market in the country on the other hand. And with that combination, obviously, we expect to see a dramatic increase in the economy coming from the tourism sector. So everything is well planned, as I said. Let alone that, the amount that we're going to use to pay our local contractors, it's money in the hands of the Dominican people, it's into the economy, it's all local contractors. That is going to remain here as well. And then most of all, we have to look at the relocation of these vulnerable homes in those villages, and then that it just shows. But Mr. Speaker, you can only get to that point. As the Prime Minister said, there must be empathy. This is what the Labour Party embodies. This is what the Labour Party government is all about. It's all about love and sharing and keeping the vulnerable people safe. It's not about a one set. You don't run a government like it's just a business. There's emotions involved in that, Mr. Speaker. There's people's livelihood. So it's not all about money and checks and balances. You have to look deeper than this, and this is what the Labour Party brings it with. Yes, we are accountable. Yes, we can respond to all this different stuff, but at the same time, it's our love for people. That's what the Dominica Labour Party is all about. So, Mr. Speaker, having said all of this, and I recognize that both sides support this loan, and although Senator Lowry tried to say that it was a loan and it was in credit facility, but if I remember clearly, I think I used the word loan about 20 times in my presentation. So listening and hearing is two different things. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This concludes the debate. I will now put the question. Be it resolved that in accordance with Section 3.1 of the Loans Act, Chapter 6405 of 2017 revised laws of the Commonwealth of Dominica, this Honorable House authorizes the Minister for Finance to borrow, by means of credit, a sum not exceeding special drawing rights $18,500,000, equivalent to Eastern Caribbean, $69,930,000 on the following terms. Interest, 3/4 of 1% per annum. Commitment charge, 0.5% of 1% per annum. Grace period, 10 years. Repayment, 60 semi-annual installments commencing March 15th, 2035. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The motion has been approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned until 3:15 p.m.
It has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned until 3 p.m. this afternoon. 3:15?
1:5, yes, 3:15.
3:15.
Yes.
Yeah. It has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned until 3:15 p.m. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House stands adjourned until 3 p.m. this afternoon. 3:15 p.m. this afternoon.